You got your computer, you got your smartphone, you got YouTube and this and that and diversions all day long. So you really don't have to live in the real world if you do not want to. You do have to make a living. You have to go to work and get enough money to buy food and to have a place to sleep. But in your leisure time, you don't have to deal with anybody face to face if you don't want to. You can do it all by the machines. And what this does is it sets up an insensitivity to the plight of other people. So it used to be that every neighborhood in the country, everybody knew each other, they helped each other, there were friends, strong bonds. Somebody dies, everybody comes in and helps the family. A kid's in trouble, neighbors tell the parents about the kid in trouble. All of that coordination went on in America. That's traditional America. It's gone now in many places. In the small towns, you have a remnant of it, but in the big cities, it's vanished. So isolation is not good for a human being on any level. And these machines are robbing us somewhat of our American pride. It's something to think about. Interact with other people as much as you can. Now this. Many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your first alert forecast. Clear skies overnight, not nearly as chilly, down to 50 degrees for the low. Sunny and warm on Monday with a high of 80. There's a slight chance of showers Monday night after midnight. We'll drop to 59. The better chance of rain, though, on Tuesday, especially Tuesday morning. Will be mostly cloudy, a 60% chance of showers, perhaps even a few rumbles of thunder, with a high temperature of 74 degrees. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
News, analysis, opinion. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewstalkSTL.
There is a proposal or an idea to develop part of North City right along the riverfront. And remember, there's a lot of problems along the riverfront right now. We're talking homelessness, we're talking crime, even like the Parks Department and the police are saying don't go there. Jeez. In some parts of this now. So a developer comes along and wants to build an entertainment, a restaurant, a retail area right there along the riverfront in North City. And we're like, well, great, fantastic. But they want taxpayers to take on some of the investment, shall we say. This is right up the alley of the Show Me Institute and David Stokes, who joins us right now. Hey, happy Friday, Dave. Appreciate you being on the show. So what's the general scope of what's being proposed? Because we're talking about a big deal if it goes through, right?
We're talking about a very big deal and definitely a number of aspects that are concerning. But first of all, Mike, it's great to be on the air with you and everybody at NewstalkSTL. Thanks for having me on. So, yeah, there's a lot to be concerned about here. This is an area that I can tell you I'm very familiar with. I've followed this site and this development not only at Show Me Institute, but when I was with Great Rivers Habitat Alliance, because this site is along the Mississippi River and used to be floodplain. It's something we were interested in as well. It's the small part of St. Louis City that's north of 270. Most people, I think, would assume that it's St. Louis County, but it's actually St. Louis City, north of 270 along the Mississippi River there. It's about a 60, 70 acre site, depending on the exact proposal for the parcel. And a developer, it used to be a golf course. It was a golf course much lower, and it was in the floodplain as Mother Nature intended it to be. And then, because flooding is getting worse, it flooded so much that the golf course failed. And some developers came along, and they tried to, about 10, 15 years ago, they tried to do a big development there. They didn't succeed at that, but they did succeed at taking it out of the floodplain, adding an enormous amount of dirt from the Musial Bridge project to this site. And I've flown over the site in a helicopter in the flood of 2019. I've canoed past the site while canoeing the Mississippi River on a few occasions. So it's an area I know about. And now the latest plan is for a developer to put condos, a hotel, retail, and even a marina, which sounds fascinating to have a beautiful new marina, but also concerning for a reason I'll get to in a second. And it's about a $325 million project, which, many people would say is great, but of course they want tax subsidies. They want a substantial tax abatement for 15 years. They want additional sales taxes through a transportation development district and a community improvement district that will go on for a long, long time, all designed to subsidize this development. And it's very troubling. Now, the economic damage the environmental damage has already been done by taking it out of the floodplain. But the economic damage, it's just this type of cycle. The developers will say, but if we succeed in the long run, it'll generate more for the city than the cost of the abatement, the cost of the subsidies. And that can be true. That certainly could be true. But we know from the history of these subsidies and incentives and the like in our region that it generally doesn't work out in taxpayer favor. But that said, there's been very interesting articles on this proposal in the Post-Dispatch and the Business Journal, and it's before the Board of Aldermen, so we're going to see what they do.
Yeah, because there are some people in City Hall who seem to be completely on board with this. And I mean, Dave, you know me long enough. You know what I think of corporate welfare. At the same time, there's probably an emotional appeal to a lot of people that says, look, there's nothing there now. We've got to have jobs. The city's dying. We got to just do something and take our shot. Let's take the risk. It's a public-private partnership, Dave.
And that do something mentality can be very harmful in government. Because, right, we all want people out there who want to do something. We want them to be the people we connect with in life, in politics, whatever. We want to do something. But when you do something in government, you do something with other people's money. And we know that when you make decisions based on spending other people's money, you don't do it as effectively as you do when you spend your own money. So that's where these abatements come in. And it's used to justify all sorts of government actions under the idea that we have to do something. And the studies, over to many, many, many of them, of the use of tax subsidies and tax abatements and the like, they demonstrate beyond any doubt that it doesn't really work because these subsidies incentivize projects that may not actually be a great idea. I don't know if there's this hotel, condos, and marina and retail development here at this location is going to be a big success in the future. Certainly, most of my brain and heart hopes it is. But I also know that, look, the marina, there's a reason that they built the Chain of Rocks Canal right in that area, because this site is right by the Chain of Rocks, which is one of the trickiest parts of the whole Mississippi River to navigate. I would very question whether the Corps of Engineers is going to allow a marina right by a location they literally call the Chain of Rocks. So that's going to be very tricky. And again, I have canoed through this area with very knowledgeable guides explaining this to me. So the marina part has got its whole separate area of trouble, and you hope that they're not proposing it just to help them get the subsidies, and then they'll know it'll be pulled back when the Corps of Engineers says no way. You hope that's not happening. But it's an interesting site. It's a neat location, of course, right up on the beautiful Mississippi River. There's an old water department intake, sort of a lighthouse-looking fixture right there. It's beautiful. I'd love to see it succeed, but leaving even aside the whole Merino chain of rocks aspect, it's just another round of tax incentives that people in the city of St. Louis think this is how they're going to turn the city around, and the use of tax subsidies and the like just doesn't work in the long run.
Good morning, Dave. This is Ken. It's a high risk, high reward situation. That's a typical business thing. I mean, they will reap all of the benefits if they risk their equity to make this happen. Now, when the project's finished, how much money is in sales is the city itself going to receive directly from sales from this finished project?
Well, they don't know that. The project's not far enough along in the scale to have determined numbers like that. It's a $325 million total project. That's what they estimate, but that includes salaries of construction work. That includes a lot of stuff in that. When it's done, if it has a hotel and condos and several 100,000 feet of retail, they're going to get a 90% tax abatement for the first 5 years, and a 75% tax abatement for the next 5 years, and then on a little bit further. So that 90% tax abatement, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I don't know what the final assessed valuation of the project would be. It would certainly be, tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And the articles on the Post and the bills before the Board of Aldermen don't give those specifics just yet. It is a little bit troubling that all of it, according to the news reports, says that the Port Authority has final say on the tax abatement, not the Board of Aldermen. So that's also troubling, and I'm glad you brought this up, so I remembered to make that objection. Elected officials on the Board of Aldermen and the mayor need to have the final say on these tax subsidies, not the St. Louis City Port Authority, which are appointed by the mayor. So these unelected officials should have a role in judging it. I mean, it is along the river. It is legitimately will be a port. So I'm not saying they shouldn't have a role, but the final say has got to be with elected officials. And we're seeing sort of a trend in Kansas City and now here in St. Louis with the Port Authority of giving unelected people the decisions over these tax subsidies to sort of spare elected officials perhaps the public scrutiny for it. And so we need elected officials to be held accountable for this, not unappointed members of the Port Authority.
All right, David Stokes from the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Dave, appreciate the update. We're going to keep a real close eye on this. I want to see the development. I just don't want to see the corporate welfare and crony capitalism that too often goes with it.
And potentially the wreck of certain yachts in the marina on the chain of rocks right there. I don't want to see that either.
All right, there you go. Hey, Dave, have a great weekend. Appreciate you being on the program.
Thanks, everybody. Would love to talk to you about this again in the future.
We will do. We've got the first News Talk STL News Roundup coming your way in just about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
She will collect you with the carnal stare.
Hey, St. Louis, it's Dan Bongino, proud to be part of the News Talk STL lineup.
Every weekday from 11 to 2, we'll get together to talk about what's going on.
News, analysis, opinion, and always some fun. Make an appointment to be with us every weekday beginning at 11 on News Talk STL.
Welcome home.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate. And George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Hey, is that a faucet running? Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. It is? Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact... What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum. That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe. How do trees clean the air? They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us. Cool. I didn't know that. Yep. But the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb. Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The news and talk.
Inflation remains well above 2%.
We do expect we're going to be in for tougher times ahead.
That matters to St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, less than 30 days from Election Day and your time to get registered to vote, or for anybody's time to get registered to vote, running out on both sides of the river. Going to give you an update on that in just a little bit, because there may be somebody you know this. You may want to say, hey, wait a minute. You're going to vote the right way, right? Okay. By the way, you just moved, or whatever the case is, time is absolutely almost out to be registered to vote so you can participate in the next election. Almost out. So I'll tell you about that in just a little bit here. Also, Governor Parson responds to President Biden's call to pardon those convicted of low-level marijuana possession crimes. And also, just in case people forgot, Ken, Kanye West is still an idiot, and people should stop treating him like a serious person or a serious source of anything to think about.
Okay.
Yeah. What a moron this guy is. Good Lord. All right. So I'll give you the update on that as well. And that's one of those where I freaking hate doing those celebrity topics, but you couldn't ignore this one over the last 24, 36 hours. And I think let's expand it as to, let's just stop looking at rappers and rock stars and actors as sources of anything other than amusement.
Well, you might be talking to the right, but the left, that's never going to happen.
Oh, I know. Well, we do it too, though. I mean,
I'm saying, though, but you said let's stop.
Yeah.
That's never going to stop in the left.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. And so I'll tell you why I'm saying that and why I think everybody should just stop treating this person like a serious anything. Oh, good Lord. All right. Okay, so here, as far as the big news stories, we're going to get to this in more depth at 7:05. Man, did PayPal really step in it over the last few days. Holy crap. They sent out an update to their terms of service. And I actually did this, I don't know, about a week and a half ago, but apparently nobody noticed for a little bit. but they said they were going to fine users $2,500, up to $2,500 for whatever they decide is misinformation and just take the money directly out of people's accounts.
Yeah, I closed my account.
Yeah, I closed a PayPal account years ago and just never bothered to set one back up, but I think my wife has one, so we'll have to check on that.
Yeah, I completely closed it, and then I screenshot it, and I put it up on social media.
There you go. Company quickly said after the backlash happened, said, big misunderstanding.
Sure.
We didn't mean to send that out. Sorry about that. So we're cool, right?
Nope.
No, not cool. Okay, so we're going to come back to this at 7:05. This is a tactic we are going to see more and more and more of as we move into a completely digital economy. Okay?
Yep.
This is one of the dangers that we've got because this was particularly sinister with what they want to do, not to mention completely illegal.
I hope companies like Venmo get the message.
Isn't Venmo and PayPal, aren't they like owned by the same company?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll double check on that. But this should be a shot across the bow, but you don't have the right to go in and say, I'm going to fine you. That means they're in some sort of authority over you, which they aren't. Not to mention any sort of due process. That's just stealing $2,500.
And who decides what the disinformation is?
Yeah, well, there's always that. And remember, PayPal relies on completely biased, bigoted, fringe organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center for guidance.
Yeah.
And anytime you rely on the Southern Poverty Law Center, you are way, way out of anything related to truth or reality on that. So 7:05. Let's do it 7:05. Let's see here. By the way, gas prices still going up. All indications are they're going to continue to go up. And we're going to get new inflation numbers probably this week. And it looks like that's going to be up as well, or at least around the 8% mark. Price of gas going up again. It's going to influence politics, of course, ahead of the midterms. Fox News' Alexandria Hoff has the story.
At $3.91 a gallon, gas prices are 60% higher now than when President Biden took office. And while the chief economic advisor for Alliance told Face the Nation this weekend that he predicts headline inflation will come down to about 8% as the latest consumer price index is released this week, he added that core inflation, which measures the drivers, is likely on the rise. Republican Congressman Tom Emmer feels that the country has been prioritizing issues that Democrats have simply not. Republicans still have to convince voters that they are the ones to solve those issues. The midterms are now 28 days away.
And in the meantime, the Democrats have spent $25 million collectively on advertising about abortion for the campaign. By the way, the national average price of gas as of early this morning was $3.91 a gallon. Heads up Spire customers, which I think is just about everybody, at least on the Missouri side of the area as far as your natural gas, your rates are going to go up a little bit. You're going to get a 47-cent monthly increase for what they call an infrastructure cost. Okay, so 47 cents a month, not a big deal. However, Spire is asking to be able to raise their rates again this winter. They want another $151 million. So public hearings about the increase, the proposed increase, are starting next week. But what they're really asking for is to be able to raise rates by about 10%. And if you're in a two-story home, that's significant because natural gas prices are already high.
Yeah.
I mean, think about in the wintertime is really not that weird to have a, $250 gas bill if you crank up the gas heat all the time, something like that.
What is it?
Like a $200 or $250 bill in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
So imagine
That's
going
about
up,
right.
Yeah, going up another $25 or $30 a month, already on top of all the other inflation. So that could be headed this way.
Yeah, and I get the two-story thing, but I've got a U-shaped ranch style, and that gets pretty high too.
Yeah, absolutely, it can. All right, so just be aware of that. By the way, public comments start again, like I said, next week. Governor Parson is not on board with President Biden's call for governors to pardon those convicted of low-level marijuana offenses. KMOV's Samantha Jones has the governor's reaction.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the governor indicated this would be handled on a case-by-case basis, saying the governor, quote, has used his state constitutional authority to grant pardons to individuals who demonstrate a changed lifestyle, commitment to rehabilitation, contrition, and contribution to their communities, rather than as a blanket approach to undermine existing law.
So basically, Governor Parsons' office saying he's not going to nullify the marijuana law by pardoning everybody. Legally, that is correct. I think it would have been a good gesture if every governor had actually said, "Yeah, we're gonna do that." You got a conviction because you had some marijuana on you for personal use. We're just going to wipe that away. You're good to go. But not going to happen on the Missouri side. I have not heard anything on the Illinois side from Pritzker. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it, though. Yeah, I would not be surprised. It comes down to probably partisan lines at this point. All right, it is official. It's kind of sad for me to say. The Hall of Fame careers of Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols are over.
Yeah.
Put a period on it, past tense. They are over. The Cardinals pathetically lost 2 games in a row against the Phillies at Busch Stadium in the wild card round of the playoffs, ending the year for the Redbirds. My gosh, that game on Friday. What in the world happened?
I don't know. That was a big surprise for me. And the bad thing was it was my fault.
What'd you do?
Well, the first game that they lost, they were ready to break it open in the 9th inning, right?
Right.
Well, this is the first time this whole year that I watched on TV.
Damn it, Ken!
At that very moment. I turn it on. I see what's happening. I'm like, awesome! And then that.
Yeah.
And I turned it off. I said, it's my fault.
Yeah, and then the Cardinals did score once in the 9th inning.
Well.
So too little, too late.
Yeah.
I don't think Cardinals are going to renew your contract, Ken.
I know.
That was bad. I mean, the 9th inning. They go into the 9th inning with the lead on Friday.
I know, man. It was crazy.
They scored, 6 or 7 runs, and then the Cardinals scored, another run or so in the bottom of the 9th, and then just 2-0 on Saturday.
Something like 15 innings without a hit between Goldschmidt and Arenado.
Yeah, that's
crazy. That's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get it. When you get into a slump, like it wasn't even a slump because Pujols, he did his thing.
Yeah.
And he almost broke it open again, and Yachty did too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
All right. Well, so now we're back to, there's next year, but
right.
Next year is not going to include Yadier Molina.
No.
Not going to include Albert Pujols. So
what do you think about
Waino keeps talking about they're not coming back.
Yeah, I know.
He's indicating that he may be back. It's going to be interesting. All right, 6:05 here. Got the update for you to make sure you can vote.
The Range St. Louis West is Missouri's best indoor shooting range. With 20 climate-controlled lanes, over 70 firearms available to rent, and the best staff in the business, you're guaranteed to enjoy every minute of your time with us. Our impressive showroom is full of the latest and greatest offerings from the best manufacturers in the business. Need an optic, spare magazines, holster, or any other accessory? Let our professional staff help you find exactly what you need and get it installed for you. Mention you heard us on Newstalk STL and save $100 on your membership and enjoy even more goodies. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Columbo and Katie.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, would you be able to publicly state for the record that Tony Colombo is your favorite Italian on News Talk STL?
Tony, I love you, but you can't hold a candle to your co-host there.
All right, but am I better than Vic at least? I want to just be better than Vic Porcelli.
They want to win your mind and your heart over. That's what they want from you, Mr. Secretary.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Crime has been a big issue in the New York governor's race, bound to capture even more attention now that 2 people have been shot outside the Long Island home of Republican gubernatorial candidate Congressman Lee Zeldin. Happened yesterday afternoon, the 2 victims injured taking shelter under the Zeldin family's front porch. Zeldin says he doesn't know who they are. The motive is not clear, although there's speculation it may have been gang-related. Zeldin says that, like so many New Yorkers, crime has literally made its way to our front door. A lot of Russian missiles have been making their way to cities all across Ukraine, including Kiev. Journalist Sergei Olmaz in the Ukrainian capital telling the BBC it was a scene of utter confusion and chaos.
I woke up and heard the sound of what I thought was an airplane, looked out the window and heard the first explosion, went out, saw kids running for shelter. There's a school nearby, people frantic. And then a second explosion, I saw big plumes of smoke. Went to the first strike site, and I saw businesses and windows shattered, emergency services, police officers were frantic, just yelling, and Kyiv hasn't seen this for quite a while.
Ukrainian officials reporting multiple fatalities. He's not hiding in a basement somewhere. No, former President Trump continuing to hold big rallies ahead of next month's midterm elections. Mesa, Arizona, scene of his latest event last night, ripping the Democrats for raging inflation.
Under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress, gasoline prices, congratulations, by the way, in Arizona, are up 86% in a very short period of time, and they're going higher.
Mr. Trump still not saying whether he will make a run for the White House in 2024. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures down 61 points, NASDAQ futures off 54, S&P futures down 12. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 40 eastbound before Grand, there's a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane. And taking a look at this morning's traffic times, 270 from 55 to McDonald. Traffic's running about 20 minutes this morning. Westbound from 55-70 in Illinois to McDonald, it's a 23-minute commute. 70 from Broadway to 270, traffic's running 15 minutes. And from 270 to Wentzville Parkway, it's an additional 13 minutes. 170 from 270 to 40, traffic's running 10 minutes. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the NewstalkSTL Traffic Center.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Newstalk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. As my daughters would say, it's fall, y'all. That means it's the perfect time to call Hanson's. Prime time for Hanson's to come out and do all that fall trimming before winter storms can bring down trees and limbs on the homestead. Get on the Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil applications to protect your trees from insects taking shelter over the winter, and a perfect time for Hanson's to put you on a preventative plant health care program. Everything you need for winter can be found at Hanson's. Hanson'sTree.com.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on Newstalk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up, so if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Hey, I want to thank everybody who came out to Freedom Fest in Fenton on Sunday. I could only stay for a really short time, but I was glad to get out there and see a bunch of old friends and meet a few people that I had only emailed and texted and talked on the phone with. So really good turnout. That was a pretty full house that they had out there. And it was kind of funny watching Ann Wagner kind of tease Jay Ashcroft and Eric Schmidt for a little bit because neither of them shaved. Eric Schmidt shows up in a ball cap and a sweatshirt and jeans and tennis shoes. He literally is like, I got to go cut. He looked like I got to go cut the yard after this. That's not, I don't think he didn't say that. It was like, that's what he looked. And so Ann, I think, was having a lot of fun with that. There was good barbecue. I snacked a little bit on it because I had a lunch appointment that I needed to get to. But a lot of people were out there. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody who came up and said hi. And Renee Artman, who's the chair of the St. Louis County Republican Party, grabbed me and she goes, I've been meaning to get this to you. And she hands me one of those T-shirts. Remember when Tim Fitch was a huge pain in the butt to Sam Page, which we always love, as far as when Page was losing his mind over social. And they were talking about the Fitch bump.
Oh, yeah.
She gave me a Fitch Bump T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So she gave me it. So, Renee, thank you so much. I've got my Fitch Bump T-shirt now back at the house. All right, it is 6:07. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Okay, quick reminders. Here we are, 28 days, something like that, from the election.
Right there.
Less than 30 days from the election. And if you are in Missouri, you need to register to vote by Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Wednesday is the deadline. So you don't get it done by Wednesday, you do not get to vote in this election. So check out your county clerk's office, check out our election authority, whatever you have in the county that you live in. You can also go to the Secretary of State's office for more information. Go to their website. You'll get more information there. On the Illinois side, you need to be registered by tomorrow to be eligible to vote in the election. And if you are mailing in your request, it means it needs to be postmarked by tomorrow. Once again, go to your county clerk or go to the Secretary of State's office if you want more information on that.
And if you're volunteering to help with registration, things like that, keep going. You can't wait any longer.
Right.
Find one of your local Republican offices, and I'm sure they'll direct you to what they need.
Yeah. Now, this is going to sound a little weird considering I just said, hey, there was a pretty full house at the Freedom Fest barbecue because that's where the activists are there from the young Republicans, and there were a lot of not so young Republicans, a lot of office holders. A lot of folks for some activist groups are out there. I am still not sensing, I'm talking about outside of the activist core, okay? I'm still not sensing a big sense of fired upness. I know that's not a word, but fired upness about things. I'm not saying disengagement. I don't think people are disengaged, but I think people are watching the news and watching the Senate race in Georgia and Ohio and Pennsylvania and, the race in Arizona and all this kind of stuff. I think people are kind of looking at it as sport, but I don't sense that people are fired up say, in the last election, which obviously was a presidential year. But I think a lot of people are being lulled into maybe a sense of security. If you're a Republican saying, yeah, we got this. Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, this candidate's going to win by this much. And I'm telling you, that's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Absolutely dangerous. I'm hoping that I think Ken and I had our theory that they're waiting to strike, but I don't know. We're getting a little close. 29 days is pretty close.
Yeah, and I talk to people, on both sides because I have a big family of people on the left, but I have a lot of people on the right as well, and they're fired up, but they're just like they're apprehensive. They're waiting. They don't want to be caught. They're not going to jump out into the streets with big Republican signs or anything like that. They're just not going to do it. They're going to vote, and I think that's probably the most important thing. However, I would caution that don't get complacent. You've got to vote. Every vote is going to count. It's going to be a very important thing for you to do this midterm and in 2024.
If you think that, the U.S. Senate race is, we've already got a winner on that. Well, first of all, the votes haven't been counted yet, but that affects every local race as well.
Yeah.
So the voter turnout isn't just about the U.S. Senate or if you're an Illinois governor. It's not about just those races. Around 6:35, I'm going to give you an update on what we know about the Mantovani versus Page matchup. There's actually some polling being done, and you know what I think of polling, so I'm going to go into that very, very cautiously. But I think there's a couple things we can learn from the polling that is done, even though I don't really have a huge amount of confidence in the numbers. But they are very, very interesting. But if you're not fired up, because that's where a lot of people are like, I was busy at work. I meant to get to it. Gosh, I'd have to rush there right now. And I am telling you, those are the things that could make a difference in races like a county executive, which could be very, very, very close. I don't know, but it could be very, very close. Certainly, it could be affecting some of the state legislative races. We've got a couple in the area that look like they're going to be very close, very important races to the makeup of the state legislature. And you've got your county executive races and all these other things as well. So you just can't sleep on them thinking, we got this one in the bag, or there's no way we're going to win.
Look at the shock we got when Catherine Pinner beat Shamed Dogan. I mean, that's a small example, but that tells you, hey, there are a lot of people out there probably saying, and I heard some people say, how did Shamed lose?
Right.
I mean, I voted for it. Well, no, okay, but everybody else didn't.
I don't think that's a small example. I think it's a big example.
That's huge.
I really do. I think that's a huge reminder of what can happen. And for instance, at 6:35, to the point that one of the reasons that Shamed lost, and is he knows that he's not really that conservative of a Republican. And so people voted against him, not knowing that they were voting for somebody who's from the clown show, and
had no desire. And she must be a lovely person because everybody likes her apparently in her group. But man, she just should not have even attempted running. She did not want to.
Yeah, I think some clowns like other clowns, but I'm sure there's people that I know that like her okay, but she was not an impressive person, and so I'm
politically.
done with her. No, she's not an impressive person at all.
Oh, okay.
We had her on the show. I'm like, this person doesn't know up from down. This is somebody who's just not ready, not ready for prime time.
And that's what I mean.
Anytime.
She shouldn't have been there.
No, not in the least bit.
Right.
So now there's a credible, candidate who I think can actually win, but everything's got to go right. And that means that and we'll talk about this again at 6:35. So be ready, because I know there are people on the Republican side who are angry that you didn't even nominate a Republican. You went and recruited a Democrat. And so a lot of the people, who I think would have a very good point in other races about not voting for rhinos and all this kind of stuff. I get it. And let's have the conversation, but I'm going to make the case that we should vote for Mark Mantovani.
Oh, absolutely.
To me, this is kind of a no-brainer, but I want to be respectful of people who are frustrated with, the county and the city Republican Party not being as conservative as they want it to be. I think there's a unique opportunity right here, and I think we need to think strategically.
And we have to take the wins where we can get them. Getting Sam Page out of the office
important thing.
Is a big win.
And it's not about politics.
Right.
This is a win for the First Amendment. This is a win for the right to operate your business. This is a win for people who say, no, I'm not electing people to micromanage our lives, which is what Sam Page believes he was elected to do, is to literally run people's lives.
I mean, Mantovani may not give us small government, but it's definitely going to be smaller government than what we've got.
And Mantovani, he's got the endorsement of the St. Louis County Police Department. That's a big step, and that means he's actually doing something in his candidacy.
Which we're going to talk to the St. Louis County Police Officers Association at 7:35 as well. Their executive director, Joe Patterson, is going to be with us to tell us why they decided to make that endorsement, because that's a big endorsement.
It's a big endorsement.
That's a really big deal. All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, I really don't want to talk about Kanye West.
I know.
I really don't want to do this.
I saw the prep and I could feel your problem that you
Seething.
had even putting that down on the list.
Good Lord.
But here we go.
All right, let's deal with this jackwad here in a minute. Here at 620 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your curtain call. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 40 eastbound before Grand, there's a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane. And taking a look at traffic times, 40 westbound from downtown to 270, traffic's running 13 minutes. And from 270 to the Boone Bridge, it's an additional 11 minutes. 70 westbound from Broadway to 270, traffic's running 15 minutes. And 170 from 270 to 40, you're looking at a 10-minute commute. 270 westbound from 5570 to McDonald, traffic's running about 23 minutes. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. I pay cash and close in as little as 3 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and any location in St. Louis. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast, call me at 314-293-3000. That's 314-293-3000. 314-293-3000.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. PayPal caused quite a stir over the weekend after reports surfaced that it would soon be docking users by up to $2,500 for participating in the spread of misinformation. Reaction online was swift and harsh, with many users declaring via social media that they would be closing their accounts. Late on Saturday came word that PayPal was reversing course. A company spokesman stated that the acceptable use policy notice went out in error and included incorrect information, insisting that PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy. Which begs the question, how did language that was never intended to be inserted in their policy nevertheless find its way into their policy? Certainly it didn't materialize out of thin air. Someone thought it a worthwhile enough idea to draft the language. Just one more indicator of the troubling impulses in much of corporate America when it comes to curtailing speech or wrongthink. For many, this reversal came a day late and $1 short. They're still closing their accounts. And for those who are eyeing Venmo as an alternative, a word to the wise. PayPal owns Venmo. No word yet on whether PayPal will be fining itself for the misinformation that went out in error.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The week ahead. Monday is Columbus Day. It is a federal holiday with banks and the post office closed. And in L.A., the rape and sexual assault trial of one-time movie mogul Harvey Weinstein begins. Weinstein already convicted of similar crimes in New York. Tuesday, another two-day Amazon Prime Days event begins. Wednesday, representatives from the dozens of countries that make up the Ukraine Defense Contact Group will meet in Brussels, while Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with the president of Kazakhstan. Thursday, the January 6th committee holds a hearing focusing on findings concerning former President Trump's main fundraising apparatus, the Save America PAC, and the Social Security Administration will announce a cost of living adjustment. Friday, Georgia's Senate candidates, Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker, will debate in Savannah. And on Saturday, Medicare open enrollment begins. It runs through December the 7th. And that's a look at your week ahead. I'm Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
All right, breaking news. Kanye West is still an idiot. Good God. All right.
This was interesting.
Yeah, let me read. Should I read the copy as it's written?
Yeah.
Artist Ye West's Instagram account gets restricted, and his Twitter was restricted soon after that. Fox News' Christina Coleman reports with the latest.
Ye's Twitter account was blocked after he posted the following comment on Twitter. He said, quote, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." He also wrote on Twitter, "Who you think created cancel culture?" Now, these are some of Ye's first posts on Twitter in nearly 2 years. He returned to Twitter on Friday after he was restricted from Instagram for posting a comment that the American Jewish Committee, a historic advocacy group, deemed anti-Semitic.
Wow. What year is this again, Gabe? What year is this?
Oh, it's not the year. It's a bit of that. Oh gosh, there's a whole ideology behind it that claims that black folks are like the lost tribe of Israel or something like that. I kind of stated this very early on, especially when Kanye started his Christian journey, as they say. You know, is proclaiming public Christianity. He released that Christian album, things like that, and I was like, people, I really hope that he has good Christian influences in his life, because new Christians are just basically baby sponges of anything, and they can get co-opted by anybody. And of course, it doesn't help that he's manic depressive and has bouts of basically craziness.
Yeah.
so that comes out, and he just kind of gloms onto these things. I have compassion for these type of people, just because there's so much going on in their heads. It's hard to wrap your hands around what's going on with them, but he's definitely not in a good space.
I would have more compassion if he stays off the TV cameras and shuts his mouth. You got. I mean, nobody's been, I think, more in conservative media, at least, aggressive in saying, yeah, mental health absolutely is a massive, topic that we're not getting right now. But he's drawn this on himself, and really, the Jews did it. That's his argument. The Jews did it, but I can't be anti-Semitic because I'm black.
It's so weird.
I mean,
he probably needs to continue to take his medication. I mean, being bipolar,
and then shut up in the meantime. I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking last Thursday and Friday, and we're seeing on the screen that Tucker Carlson was making a big deal out of exclusive 2-day interview with Kanye West, and we didn't talk about it on the air, but in here, I'm ranting in here. I'm like, what in the world? Why are you putting this person out? Why do so many people continue to look at rappers and rock stars and actors and whoever else as some kind of source of anything? Listen, I want to comment on how left-wing the Hollywood industry is getting. Fine, I'll listen to the conservative actors. They've got a stake in that. They've got some inside view on that. But when it comes to culture and politics and all this, rock stars just sing or scream or whatever you do. Rappers just do whatever that is you do up there. Actors just pretend to be other people and cash the checks. And everybody else, these are just really well-paid court jesters. They're really nothing other than court jesters. Just look at them as sources of amusement and stop putting them in this position. They wouldn't be in this position if there weren't so many people who were hanging on the words that they were saying.
And this is the same thing with remarks that the left makes, the celebrities and that like, they make these racist remarks. I mean, anti-Semitism is racism. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a form of racism. Gabe and I were talking about it off the mic.
Now, I will say this, though. I'm always concerned about conservatives doing what we've always done and ceding the cultural ground. So how do we?
Right, I agree with that.
How do we establish ourselves as part of the cultural conversation without going into the realm of elevating people into positions where they shouldn't be? Like I know we have to walk that line, but I don't want to just completely toss out the baby with the bathwater.
I agree.
Okay, so like for instance, when it comes to ye, yes, I say that with every bit of sarcasm and condescension as I could possibly muster for this person. Okay, so then how does that apply to that?
Well, here's the thing. If the other side is elevating people who have influence, whether we want them to have the influence or not, they do have influence.
Unfortunately,
right?
That's the problem.
Right. So that's the world that we live in right now. They have influence. How do we pull that back? How do we influence those spaces? How do we get in there to counter what's happening from the other side?
You have to be collaborating with basically another right-leaning individual in the entertainment industry.
You mean match their celebrity with our celebrity?
I would not say match it, but you need to be present in some fashion.
I just don't. I think if we're going to say stop looking at Jennifer Lawrence as your source of information on the complex issue of abortion, then I think what you should last thing we should do is, well, let's go get Kevin Sorbo and match it. I think you deal it with you address it with serious people and serious obviously who know how to comment, who know how to message, but I don't think we need to say, well, let's engage it in the entertainment industry. Let's engage it on our terms.
Well, 16-year-olds aren't watching think tanks.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's the ground
but
that I'm
most
talking about.
35-year-olds aren't either.
Well, yes, true, of course. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, is that we certainly need to develop our conservatism within the realms of intellectual halls, and all these things. And we need to proliferate those messages. But then the proliferation, I guess, is where it is. What's the avenue in which we're pushing the political understanding or even religious understanding out into the culture? Because right now those things are all siloed, and so and the leftists own that culture silo. So how do we infiltrate it?
What about this? Because they cancel culture. The cancel culture cancels anybody on the right who's an actor. They just try to cancel it. What about if we don't cancel? Like, for example, I always refer to Robert De Niro because I can't stand the guy politically. But I love his movies.
He's a great
and
actor.
I separate the two. I completely separate the two. I don't cancel him at all. So if we could find a way to just say, okay, you know what? We're not going to do it. We're not canceling.
But we don't.
And, correct. But we don't advertise it either. You know what I'm saying? We don't promote it like
it's not helping though.
You're right. No, what I'm saying is let's fight their cancel culture without canceling, with not canceling.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, one of the things I guess we do is we uncancel people. I know I've seen that happen, like the Gina Carano thing, the whole uncanceling, right? Mm-hmm. So she was booted from Star Wars for left-wing things. She got picked up by Daily Wire, did a movie, and a lot of righties threw money at her. That's good. That's fine. And she was entertaining. She did exactly what you were saying, Mike, where she just kind of stayed in her realm, where she just kind of you're just entertaining us. That's what you're supposed to do, and that's great. And I love that. And the products that the Daily Wire is putting out is intended for entertainment and intended to come at it from a right perspective, but not right preaching. So that's what I love about what we're doing. But I'm still wondering what's the right way to go about the other aspect of the cultural effect. Now, we certainly don't want to really elevate guys like Kanye because when we agree with him and we say, oh, look at what Kanye is saying, then now we're attached to him. So when he says something crazy like he just did, well, we got some on us now, right? And that's where the problem lies. So how do we navigate that middle? Obviously, I don't know the answer. I don't think we know the answer in this room, but I'm throwing it out there. Hey, people, if you have a good idea, then please.
We got to go to the break, but real quick, okay? When Kanye said things that I liked about what he said about Trump, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good, and now I think he's being a racist. I can separate those two. And then when someone comes on to me and says, yes, I agree, you get part of it on you if you agree with him. But at the same time, I didn't agree with the racism part. And when someone says to me, well, you like Kanye, what? No, I like his opinion on Trump, but I don't like his opinion as a racist.
It's hard to parse that.
It's the same person. I mean, how do you,
well, you can parse the issue.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think you've got somebody who's an anti-Semite. You just say, this person isn't somebody.
Well, now it's all bets are off.
I mean, we just got to be done. We got to call out the guy's anti-Semitism, and we need to be done with the guy.
Now, yes. Yeah. But when he was just saying things positive about Trump, I was like, yeah, I'm on board. But I'm not on board now because he's a freaking racist, as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
when he was commenting even stuff I agreed, I was still going, why are we listening to this person? There are many people who say that.
Well, I wasn't listening. I was agreeing with him.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. Let's look at more of a local race here. Paige and Manavani. A lot of people talking about some polling that came out. I'm skeptical of all polling, but there are some interesting things in there. I'll tell you what's out there. We'll do that around 6:35 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Governor Mike Parson says he will not issue pardons for marijuana offenses despite a push from the president for governors to do so. In a statement, Parson's office indicated it would be handled on a case-by-case basis rather than as a blanket approach to undermine existing law. A mother whose son died less than an hour after he was transported from a Missouri jail to a state prison has won a $1.2 million settlement in a case that helped lead to suspensions, firings, and reforms. Daniel Stout, then 31, died in June of 2019, one of 5 county jail deaths that year. On Saturday, preliminary concept renderings for the future of Steinberg's skating rink in Forest Park were displayed to the public, which included plans for a second-story cafe. The president of Forest Park Forever said the main goal of the project is to utilize Steinberg as a year-round facility. A ribbon cutting was held in Baldwin on Friday at the Greensfelder Recreation Complex following a $10 million renovation. The renovation included a new ice rink, refrigeration package, locker rooms, entrance, and offices. And in sports, for the second straight season, the St. Louis Cardinals generated the best TV ratings among all 30 MLB teams through their local TV broadcast partner, Bally Sports Midwest. According to Nielsen Media Research, viewership of Cardinals baseball through Bally Sports increased 31% from last year and reached its highest engagement level since 2016. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald. Traffic's running 23 minutes. Drivers are tapping their brakes as they approach Manchester. Westbound from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald. Traffic's running 24 minutes. 40 from downtown to 270. Traffic's running 13 minutes. And from 270 to the Boone Bridge, it's an additional 11 minutes. 40 eastbound before Grand. All lanes are back open from an earlier disabled vehicle. And 170 from 270 to 40. Traffic's running 10 minutes. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
What a great meeting. I loved everything he said. I think we've found our new financial advisor.
I hated him.
What? Why?
He never even looked at me.
It's a story that's been repeated over and over in the financial industry. And it's the reason Deanna Orff at the All Financial Group is so passionate to change it. That's why on October 18th, she's hosting an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's an open forum for you to learn more about markets, investing, and planning for retirement, and a setting where you can ask questions. It's a fact that 90% of women will at some point be solely responsible for their finances. This could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event on October 18th. It's free, but you do need to make a reservation. So call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen Hall, Missouri license 8039738.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim Jones here. Chris, Katie, and I back for what is always a manic Monday. At 4:25, we'll have former U.S. Senator Jim Talent. 5:25, Susie Moore of Red State.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Just going to let you know, about 1 hour from right now, we've got the executive director of the St. Louis County Police Officers Association, Joe Patterson's going to be on the program. The St. Louis County Police have decided, their Officers Association, not the actual law enforcement entity, to take a side in the county executive race, and they are endorsing against the guy who ultimately is kind of the boss. And so that took some guts. So we're going to talk to Joe Patterson about that and see why they are so passionate about that. So 7:35. It's 6:39 right now. Mike Ferguson, got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Ken Williams here. I'm not going to go on and on and on about my skepticism of the state of polling right now. I've already said that. I've already gone over that. You know what I think? I mean, I think back to that neck and neck Republican primary race that we were all told up until the day before was going to be the case.
Yeah.
So polling, is not the science that it used to be. Let's put it that way. Still, you can find interesting nuggets in some of there. Over the weekend, the Missouri Scout and Remington did a poll specifically of the St. Louis County executive's race. But they asked a couple of questions. One of them is, do you think St. Louis County is headed in the right direction, or is it going off on the wrong track? A third of the people said, no, St. Louis County's going the right direction. Okay.
A third?
A third.
That's
All right.
actually kind of big.
People who apparently don't go to the businesses that aren't there anymore and don't realize they're okay. Anyway.
And don't care.
39% said it's on the wrong track.
Okay.
All right.
So more on the wrong track.
More on the wrong track.
But should be higher.
It should be much higher.
Yes.
But so I'm glad you said that. Hold that thought, because that's where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then 28% said they don't really know. Which actually doesn't surprise me, because you don't really pay attention to county races except in places like St. Louis County, where it is a complete crap show.
Right.
And that's what we've got. And then, of course, they get into, here are the candidates, and there's a third-party Green Party guy, but he's not a factor. If the election were held today kind of question, Mark Mantovani showed up at 43%.
Okay.
Sam Page showed up at 48%.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, undecided at 8%. Okay, again, I don't know whether these numbers are correct. I doubt it, but I do think that it is accurate to say Sam Page is starting with a large advantage because he's got a partisan structure and the messaging is being drilled in. You have to vote for the Democrat. You have to vote for the Democrat. You have to vote for the Democrat. My suspicion, just based on conversations with my friends who happen to be Democrats, they don't like him either, but they're being told to be loyal to the party. So if these numbers, let's just for fun say these numbers are close to correct.
Right.
That shows that this race isn't within reach.
Yeah, that it's, I mean, with only 8% undecided, you can't,
Right.
Yeah. And of course, there's a little bit of the, what do you call it? The over-under, essentially, on it.
Yeah.
Well, and you get a lot of people who aren't going to voice their opinion correctly either when they go to, compared to how they're going to be voting actually in the voting booth.
Right. Yeah. And they do the margin of error is this percent, 95% confidence. I'm like, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
But it's actually intriguing, though, because you said that it was 43 to 48.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you have 8% in undecideds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could go, if even half of that went to Mantovani, I mean, that's a big push.
Well, but that would mean the other half went to Page, and that puts him over 50.
It does.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, what about if that's
right.
an incorrect number even?
So here's what I'm saying. Let's just for fun think that these are close. And I do think that if the election were held today, Page has probably got an advantage.
Yeah.
The fact that he's under 50% tells me something, even though I'm still very skeptical. So this tells me that this race is winnable, even on a completely short notice. But it also tells me everything must fall into place almost perfectly in order to do this. There has to be at least some Democratic voters who say, I've been voting for Mantovani for years. I like him. He hasn't changed other than which party he's on, and I'm going to vote for him. So there has to be enough Democrats who have enough ethics and backbone and morality to say Sam Page is unethical. There's a lack of transparency. He's hiding things. He's been caught violating the charter unapologetically. He's just a bad leader. There have to be enough Democratic voters who say enough's enough. Mantovani's a known entity. We know that he's been a Democrat his whole life. We're voting for him even though he's got an R behind his name. The other thing that has to happen is those independent voters have to break for Mantovani. We don't need a poll to tell us that.
Yeah.
We need that to happen. We need the independents to sit there and go, I don't have a stake in the party part of this, the partisan part of this, but if given the choice between the quote-unquote leadership of Sam Page and the leadership of Mark Mantovani, that really shouldn't be an issue.
You have a lot of people out there who don't even know how the government's run, how the decisions are made for the county. I mean, I've talked with people that are like, no, I'm not quite sure how that all works out, but I do know, then they say, but I do know that Page is causing a lot of problems for the county. They don't know the structure, you know what I'm saying? And then they hear, I think what Mark Mantovani really needs to do is hit home the fact of, here's what Sam Page has been doing, and here's what I can do.
Right. And Mark Mantovani is absolutely trying to hit on the, I'm going to bring people together, and that's all great, but you need to hit Page too. You remember when your kid's school was shut down for all that time? That was a county order. You remember when you were told you're not allowed to leave your house? That was a county order. You remember when your church said, well, the county says we're not allowed to have work? That was all Page.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
That diner you used to go to, it's not there anymore. That was because of Sam Page.
Yeah.
Right. And not because of the state, not even because of the feds. Right. I think a lot of people still attribute those things to offices higher than him.
Yes.
And that he was simply complying.
Yes.
But they don't realize that he was just acting as a dictator.
And if short attention span voters are like, well, that was a couple years ago, whatever, it sucked, we learned our lessons or whatever. Okay, that's not a factor for them anymore. Hey, by the way, the population of the county has literally gone down. Hostility to businesses is driving out economic activity and jobs.
And crime is coming in.
And by the way, Republican voters who are saying Mantovani's not a real Republican, yeah, we know. So what? He's a rhino. Okay, so what? We have
Sam
a chance.
Page is a lot worse.
We have a chance to defeat Sam Page. We need to grab that, not because of a partisan win, but because this is what's good for the people of St. Louis County. We can't miss this. 314-912-1019. Let's talk about it. Just ahead here, update on what's happening with Red Cross volunteers in Florida and your thoughts, if you wish, on the Mantovani and Sam Page race right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald. Traffic's running about 32 minutes. There is a 9-minute delay. This is for an accident before Manchester that has the left lane closed. Traffic is stop and go as you approach Gravois. Westbound 270 from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald. Traffic's running 23 minutes. 40 from downtown to 270. It's a 13-minute commute. And 55 northbound slow traffic from Weber Road to Germania. This is for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Colombo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Hey, Tim Jones here for Rockwood Charcoal. If you love to grill as much as I do, I'm sure you prefer using charcoal over gas. Ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, we're not using anything else. Rockwood's made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and can be found in stores all across the country. It's the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal there is, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business right from my hometown of Eureka. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Columbo and Katie.
This has been going on for years, especially over the last 2 years when the border has been wide open. States like Arizona and Texas and Florida, there's nowhere along the southern border for all of these people to go. And it's been Democrat policy to give migrants bus tickets and plane tickets and let them go anywhere they want.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. This is what's happening.
Secure border.
This border is a disaster.
Massive chaos that's happening. Interest rates remain high.
News, analysis, opinion.
What comes next?
Got some news for you.
This is Newstalk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
All right, 7:35. St. Louis County Police Officers Association Executive Director Joe Patterson going to be with us. They've endorsed Mark Mantovani in the race for county executive. Listen, violent crime, we know what's happening with that. Don't think that is only happening in the city. Those of us who live in the county, we know very well that this is all over the area, and so we're going to get their take and dive a little bit deeper on that. Got any questions that you want us to ask him? You can tweet that at us. Gabe, are you watching the Twitter?
I'm watching it.
Watching the Twitters?
The Twitters.
Okay, or you can put it on the Rumble chat box. I've got that up as well. Facebook, do you have Facebook up?
I got Facebook
Yep,
up too.
So. Okay, yeah, so we'll look for it. Or you can give us a call, 314-912-1019. Just an update here. Red Cross volunteers from the St. Louis region still working in Florida. They are still working to help those who were affected by Hurricane Ian, because it's not in the headlines because we've moved on to other things, but the damage, I mean, every day we're getting updates on the amount of damage and how long it's going to take to rebuild that part of the United States. KMOV, our news partners, talked to Red Cross volunteer Brett Williams over the weekend, and Brett Williams is still in Florida.
How they start over, I don't know. It's just a devastating area.
He is one of nearly 24 Red Cross volunteers from the St. Louis area still serving in recovery efforts after Hurricane Ian.
And we each have a route where we drive to feed the people that are so dearly affected.
He's delivering thousands of hot meals as other volunteers distribute relief supplies and secure shelter for those impacted most. The executive director of the American Red Cross of Greater St. Louis says 90% of its workforce is volunteer, and they're being called to action more often.
And that means that the American Red Cross is having to increase our response footprint. It means we need more people, more material supplies, and more emergency relief supplies.
And that was from Paige Hulsey's report on KMOV, redcross.org. Very easy way to get involved and donate there. Last few minutes we got here, let's come back to this Paige Mantovani thing.
Yep.
I want to talk to the Republicans, to the conservatives.
Oh, especially the ones who say they're not going to vote for
Yeah,
it. I want to hear your reasoning.
I do. I want to hear 314-912-1019. And here's the thing, and if this is hypocritical of me, I'll own it. I am saying that there are times you say, I've got a standard, philosophically, ideologically, whatever. I disagree with Mantovani on this. Okay. In this particular case, the fact that we're looking at likely a tight race, Jane Duker, I thought, laid out the numbers really well when she was last on, 2 or 3 weeks ago. By the way, she's going to be on the show again tomorrow. And she said, you look at the base, the Mantovani is likely to start with just the people who vote Republican in St. Louis County, which is likely going to be 43, 45%.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to vote Republican no matter who you put on there. And then you look at the independents who are going to just make a decision on who they like better or dislike the least. And then you've got, obviously, the Democrats, and there have to be some Democrats who do the right thing and stay Manavani voters based on the fact that they like him as a leader, as a candidate, as a personality. But those who are on the Republican side, I've seen a lot of people posting on social media. I've actually heard a few who are saying, he's a Democrat. He's just using our ballot line. I'm not voting for that. You should vote for that. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
In this particular case, do you guys think that independents in this situation especially are the reason why they're independent is because they're engaged with details, they're engaged with the information, they know more about things than just your average person just not being...
I think it's probably the opposite in a lot of ways. I think it's because they're disengaged and they're not political. Now, there are some people who are thoughtfully independent.
That's what I mean, yeah.
There are those people out there, but I have a feeling the majority of people want to go to work, want to go home, want to take the kids to soccer, want to go to Andy's and get some custard, want to go live their lives, and they don't want to deal with the politics and all the negativity and everything that goes along with it. And I don't blame them. But I think there's a lot of people who engage in the last week without a partisan loyalty. And so the mailers to their house, the people who go knocking on the doors, how many signs they're seeing, they actually influence some people on this. And that means your friends and those in your circles of influence who fit that description, they need to hear from you. They need to hear from you why this is so important. Don't badger them, but have your case ready to lay out and say, listen, this is a better administrator and a better leader than what we have right now. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has kind of plagued conservative, I think the average conservative, even the ones who watch, who listen to these things, is that we've been very quiet about all of these things. You know, we feel it's very private. We don't like to talk about it. We just kind of leave it alone. Mostly, I won't say mostly, but sometimes because we've gotten badgered by leftists all the time, so that we don't want to start a fight, so we just keep quiet about it. Yeah. We need to become a bit more evangelistic about our vote, because we need to let people know, let people around us, the people in our lives know that this stuff affects me too. It affects you, and here's the right way to go with this, and here's why. And we got to be prepared for those to have those conversations.
So that's when Mike said. People just are disengaged. They're living their life. Mm-hmm. They're basically ignoring it. That I think is a problem, because these things are going to affect that normal life that you want to lead. So that's I think where we need to get to for these people, to let them know, like your evangelism, to let them know that, hey, this is going to affect your life.
Yes,
and that doesn't mean going on Facebook and just bashing people.
Yeah, please don't.
That's not please evangelism.
It doesn't work well.
Yeah, I mean that's like the guys that used to show up on my college campus with big signs like "You're going to hell if you don't go to church with me." I'm like, they didn't get anybody to go to church with them. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine.
But you make the case, and this is 100% accurate, that when it comes to leadership for St. Louis County, there's no comparison. Mark Manavani is head and shoulders above anything Sam Page could ever be when it comes to leadership.
He's a business owner. Sam Page is not.
Sam Page doesn't. Yeah.
His business has taken over St. Louis County. That's what it is right now. Gosh, we've panned this guy for being a little petty dictator about St. Louis County enough that's really what he regards as his business. He thinks running your life, running the lives of business owners in St. Louis County is what he's supposed to do.
Yes. Right. So pointing out the negative things about Sam Page is fair game.
Absolutely.
But you also look at, here's what gets better if Mark Manavani is elected, and a lot gets better. So I'm talking to the conservative and the Republicans who say, this guy's not a conservative. He's never claimed to be. He's very moderate. He's probably, and frankly, in tune with a lot of voters in the county. I mean, it's a blue-leaning county. Let's be honest about that. But you've got to be able to make the case for things get better if we make a change. All right, just ahead, PayPal, boy, did they step in it. They got caught over the last few days. We'll talk about that.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. He says it was retaliation. Russian President Putin says a barrage of missile strikes on Ukrainian cities is his response to an attack on a key bridge linking Russia and Crimea. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility for the bridge attack, but Putin blames it on Ukrainian intelligence. And the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, has not escaped the Russian barrage.
A Ukrainian presidential office video handout shows burning cars and firefighters in Kiev's Shevchenko district. The voiceover in Russian saying they've struck here and there. They're injured. Civilians are helping. Here is the ambulance. An emergency service spokesman said in a statement the first strikes on the capital in 4 months targeted the center of the city and left dead and wounded. After the early morning strikes in Kiev, more loud explosions were heard later in the morning in an intensification of Russia's attack that could spell a major escalation in the war. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Former President Trump holding more campaign-style rallies ahead of next month's crucial midterm elections, telling a big crowd in Mesa, Arizona last night that the MAGA agenda is about everything that's good for America.
We don't want crime. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. We want great education. And we're going to end the crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all.
New York Republican gubernatorial candidate Congressman Lee Zeldin says that, like many New Yorkers, crime has literally come to his family's front door. This after a couple of people were shot and injured in front of his Long Island home yesterday afternoon. Police say it didn't have anything to do with the Zeldin family and may have been gang-related. Watching Wall Street, stock futures in the red so far this morning. Right now, the Dow futures down 26 points. NASDAQ futures off 33 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Do you know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, Select Quote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace open enrollment will be here soon. Let SelectQuote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound, traffic's running about 38 minutes from 55 to McDonald. There's an accident before Manchester, blocking the left lane. Traffic is jammed as you approach Tesson Ferry. That accident is causing about a 15-minute delay in that area. Westbound 270 from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald, traffic's running about 24 minutes. 170 northbound after Page, construction work has the right lane closed. And 55 northbound, slow traffic, Weber Road to Gasconade. Construction work has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. For over 50 years, our time-honored commitment to quality, service, and affordability make STL FenceWorks the go-to authority for fence, deck, and leisure space projects. During these unsure times of severe inflation and supply shortages, you can depend on STL FenceWorks to meet your needs. Being the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state, we've leveraged our position to make contract buy-ins hedging against price increases. Also, our buying power has allowed us to stockpile fence and deck material. There are no shortages at STL FenceWorks. In fact, we have more fence and deck material on hand now than we have had at any time in our 50-year history. Lastly, our commitment to a quality and customer-first approach has never wavered. Your project will be completed by experienced craftsmen in a timely manner, and our lifetime warranty reinforces that commitment. STL FenceWorks warranty surpasses anything offered in the industry. Visit STLFenceWorks.com and allow us to bring your backyard dreams to life. As always, at STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin Rob.
7:20. I got a weird question to ask everybody here, but I'll give you a preview of it. So we'll do 7:20 though. Are you a bumper sticker reader?
Oh, I am.
I am absolutely.
Yeah. I think you find out a lot about a person by reading their bumper stickers.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. I want to talk about that.
Because I saw one that was very simple, but I'm thinking that tells me so much about that person. I saw it on Olive. Rachel and I were on Olive just getting ready to go back on 270 to head back to the house. And I saw one and I just had to do a double take, and the double take, which is really bad because I was driving and only have one functioning eyeball. And so I'm like, I shouldn't be doing double takes and staring at that bumper sticker over there when I need to be getting onto the highway. But I'll tell you what I saw. I'd love to get your thoughts on that too. But I am absolutely a bumper sticker reader. They can be really entertaining, but they tell you so much about the person in the car. Mm-hmm. So much about that. You're absolutely right about that. It is 7:07. That's Gabe Pfeiffer over there. Got Ken Williams here. I'm Mike Ferguson. And then at 7:35, Joe Patterson from the St. Louis County Police Officers Association on why they decided to not just make an endorsement in the St. Louis County Executives race, but not pull any punches while they were doing it. This is a big message that was sent. So we'll find out the rest about that. Okay, over the last, I'd say, 48 hours or so, PayPal. Did you guys see this? I know you saw it, Ken, because I saw your social media on this. Gabe, did you see this?
Absolutely.
Okay, so apparently at the end of September, like September 25th or 26th, they updated their terms of service. And they wrote in there, and they put an announcement out when that happens, but I guess it went under the radar for a while, because if you were to print out the terms of service, you would have a booklet, that you agreed to when you click the box and they say that's a legally binding contract.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their updated terms of service is that if you spread misinformation and somehow they can connect it to your PayPal account, that they're just going to fine you up to $2,500, and they're just going to take it out of your account and just keep it for themselves. Well, over the weekend, somebody read the terms of service and started asking about that, and all hell breaks loose for PayPal because they can't answer the question, well, many questions, and they say their answer was this. So this is golden. Oh, that was sent out in error. We really didn't mean it.
I saw that.
Really?
I saw that. You know what? It doesn't matter if you didn't really mean it. The fact that it was available to send out and it meant somebody wrote it up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody above them approved it, and probably somebody above them approved it, and it was waiting to go out. So it doesn't matter if you didn't mean for it to happen exactly that way. The rot is in the company. We see it now. We see the rot in the company. We're not going to give you another chance to come at us with different wording.
Yeah, what it did for me, I had a PayPal account. I canceled it immediately, and I actually posted it on Twitter. And I wrote on there that your company has decided to regulate accounts and charge fees for disinformation. My concern was, who is the person deciding the disinformation? So I actually called them, and I said, who is that person? She said, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I said, okay, can I have someone that will talk to me about it? The supervisor, maybe? They didn't have that information either. So no one could tell me. And I said, so that for that reason, I'm out. And I guess that would be a Shark Tank reference.
For that reason.
Yeah. And a couple aspects of this. First of all, it is really insulting to everybody's intelligence, assuming you've got more than about a dozen brain cells to rub together. Insulting to your intelligence to say, oh, sorry, we didn't really mean it.
Yeah.
We just wrote it all up, and it went out, and it was published, and we didn't really mean it. We didn't mean it. Just never mind.
So just an official Freudian slip.
Right.
An official one.
Here's the
they
other
had to
thing.
actually type in.
Here's the other thing, and the question about who decides what is misinformation, absolutely valid. Now, keep in mind that PayPal in the past has relied on the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is nothing more than a fringe left-wing activist group that media pretends is a serious source of anything. But here's the other thing. They don't have the legal authority to steal your money saying, I'm fining you for that. That's called wire fraud. That's called felony theft.
Yeah.
But good luck suing a behemoth company like PayPal and trying to get criminal charges filed on that. Now, what would have to happen is there'd have to be attorneys general who would do that. And I'm sure that there would be plenty of them that would do that, and eventually you'd get something back. But the arrogance of these corporations saying that we are going to decide whether what you're saying is okay or not, and so we're just going to punish you by fining you. Well, it's in our terms of service. I don't care what's in the terms of service. You don't fork over that right to not have your money stolen.
It's a very interesting turn that's happened, I think, from the lefties, because for a long time they've been using the force of government to exert their power over the people, but now they are attempting, at least, to use the power of the quote unquote private contract, a private business, in order to exert control as well. So they're saying, oh well, you agreed, you signed the terms, you bought the movie ticket, you get. Basically, they're trying to use the force of companies, gigantic corporations, to push us the same way as giant government. So the confluence of government and corporate interest now is kind of fully ensconced, and I don't know where this is going, but it's nowhere good.
So suppose that there was no upheaval of dissident against this company.
If we didn't notice?
If we didn't notice and they got away with it, and they started to be able to take out $2,500 per disinformation instance. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a big windfall for that company, and it furthers the whole left agenda of socialism.
And what would happen is that's when the hubbub would happen. So you don't start taking away $2,500. And then, so what happened is here, this hit the fan before that all started, because I haven't found anything that says they actually did it.
Right.
But somebody found the update and went, hey, wait a minute, you're saying you can do that? The fact that they believe they have that kind of authority, which goes along with the mindset of, the social media companies. And this is, I understand, financial services. It goes along with like the other ones that are saying, well, we're going to determine what you can do or not do with our accounts. Now, it's one thing to say you can't do something illegal with our services.
Right.
Absolutely.
Everybody's supposed to say
you
that.
You cannot funnel money to ISIS with our accounts. You've got to rely on the Biden administration to do that. That's their job.
Right. Using PayPal.
Yeah. You cannot use our accounts to
launder money
for
drug cartels.
Traffic children
to Ukraine.
Anything
to export
or
crack
fight back
pipe.
the Russians. Seriously, Ken?
to export crack pipes, just like the Biden administration.
Yeah,
right. You can't use it to what else is the Biden administration doing to ship illegals across the country?
Exactly. You can't do that. So you that's fine. That's legitimate. But with this right here to say that we have the right to fine you.
Right.
Okay, I don't have a collective bargaining agreement with Major League Baseball that says if I throw my bat, they're going to fine me $5,000 and give it to the children's charity of the team's choice.
Right.
That's not what they're doing. But this means that we have to be on guard for things as obscure as these terms of service that are in about 3 font that you're never going to read, because you would have to print out a book to do it and understand the legalese for it. But that's one of the ways they're trying to take control, and it's an intimidation factor as well.
It speaks to the danger of the digital economy. I think you mentioned this earlier, that the digital economy is it has a massive downside in the amount of control that would be available, not only to companies individually, as we're seeing through PayPal, but by the government as well. Because we've seen what they can do sometimes when they get their hands on these things, or even get their hands on the company leaders.
Well, look what Canada did.
Oh yeah,
when they didn't like the truckers' opinion, they said, "Well, you know what? Let's close your account. How about that?
Flip the switch off."
Yeah.
Oh man,
you don't want us to flip this switch off, do you? You'll lose in court. Yeah. 2 years down the road. In the meantime, we're keeping the flip switched off.
Yeah.
A lot of dangers there. All right, just ahead here. Are you a bumper sticker reader? I saw one that just made me doing a double check. I went, oh, there are still people who think that way.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what it was. We'll do that around 7:20 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound, all lanes are back open before Manchester from an earlier accident. Traffic is still stop and go as you approach 55. 270 eastbound at West Florissant, roadwork has the right lane closed until about 2:30 this afternoon. 170 northbound after Page, roadwork has the right lane closed until about 1 p.m. 55 northbound, there's a vehicle fire on the exit ramp to Truman Parkway, partially blocking. And 55 northbound is slow between Virginia and Broadway for ongoing construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the NewstalkSTL Traffic Center.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with sign agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
Fox News commentary.
A California high school has banned the thin blue line flag on campus, saying it's too divisive. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Democrats predicted an end to high inflation, but nothing has changed. In fact, food and housing prices are still going higher. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings from inflation by diversifying into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, simply text the word SHELTER to 989898, and you'll get a free info kit on gold IRAs that will explain everything. Again, that's SHELTER to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required.
A high school located in Santa Clarita, California banned the thin blue line police flag on campus, and the school's head football coach decided to stop displaying it at games for the first time since 2019. Now, prior to the whiny wokesters throwing this cancel culture tantrum, the football team would run out onto the field with the flag before each game to show respect and gratitude for the 3 off-duty police officers who rushed into harm's way during a mass shooting at the school in 2019. The gunman shot 5 classmates and killed 2, including himself, and who knows how many more would have been hurt or killed if not for those selfless officers. But now the football team is barred from honoring them thanks to a cadre of woke losers who view the pro-law enforcement flag as a symbol of white supremacy, which makes no sense. Why is it that the 99% of decent folks who support the police have to kowtow to the 10% who are offended by law and order? This is utterly ridiculous and embarrassing. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
They're still anti-science and anti-governance.
Democrats offer a vision for a better America.
He's losing support and enthusiasm among the base.
101.9 and 94.1.
You're going to enter a problem.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
At the end of last week, local media really did not like the press release that came out from the St. Louis County Police Officers Association saying they endorse Mark Mantovani. We talked about it here, but I, just for fun, looked around a lot of the local media, couldn't really find much on that. They didn't do a lot with it. Imagine that. Well, 7:35, we're going to talk to their executive director, Joe Patterson, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. And at 7:50, I am going to lay out a how-to not get a job that you apply for. A woman decided to apply for a job and talking about misreading the room.
Okay.
She did it in a spectacular way, so we are going to learn from her experiences.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'm Mike Ferguson, 722 with Gabe and Ken here. First of all, real quick, thank you to everybody who came out to Freedom Fest Barbecue. in Fenton
Yay.
yesterday. Yep, I wish I could have stayed longer. I had a chance to go have lunch with my daughter, which I don't get to do very much because her schedule and my schedule are basically polar opposites on the clock. So I had a chance to go do that, so I can only stay for a very short amount of time. Some observances that I had on this is that, first of all, the room was pretty full. A lot of people showed up. Secondly, Eric Schmidt is very fired up. He obviously has his speaking points down really well, but it's really resonating with people. People were really getting excited. Ann Wagner, is that's actually some of the most energetic I've seen Ann give a speech before. And she's always very good and very engaging. But she was particularly fired up, and she's going right after Nancy Pelosi. She's going right after Chuck Schumer, talking about the importance of Republicans taking control to stop the Biden administration. Absolutely correct. Eric Schmidt was talking about maintaining control of the Senate. I don't know that the Republicans are going to win the Senate. I actually think it's possible that the Democrats could end up with a majority in the Senate after this next election. So be prepared for that, which makes the House that much more important. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It could end up 50-50. The Republicans could pull out wins. But I think you look at the way that the races are developing in 3 different key states, I don't think you can assume that Republicans are going to have control of the Senate.
Things are really up in the air.
Very
as far
up in
as
the air.
A number of Senate races right now, and there's no telling which way it's going to fall.
No,
I mean, really,
no.
And we shouldn't be making any assumptions anyway about any of these races.
No. But when you look at Ohio, you look at Pennsylvania, you look at Georgia, do not assume that Republicans are going to be riding this great big red wave and are going to take control of the Senate. I don't know that that's going to happen. So Eric Schmidt, made a very good, strong case. And then this morning, I noticed the media reports on this. It's Eric Schmidt says schools are exposing children to radical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is true.
Yes.
Absolutely true. But that's what they chose to focus on his remarks. That was it. And so, we know what we're dealing with. We also know that Eric Schmidt's in a very good position on this race, but as we talked about earlier, you can't take anything for granted on this.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there were a lot of folks running for state rep there, a lot of folks running for state senate there. Hope you networked really well. I wish I could have met everybody. Just like I said, didn't have time to do it. Okay, so let me move on. My wife and I are heading back home yesterday. We're on Olive. And we're driving and we're turning on 270 just to head back to the house. And I see a woman with a bumper sticker. I had 2 bumper stickers, actually. One of them had that little, crocheted neck thing that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, the little doily?
The little doily
neck doily.
piece. Yeah. And it just said, row, row, row something, your vote. Row, 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 your vote. R-O-E, R-O-E, R-O-E. And I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, she's dead. But secondly, it just said, another bumper sticker just simply said, thank you, Dr. Fauci. And that's the way, I'm like, really?
So I know everything I need to know about that woman.
Did she have a mask hanging off the bumper?
No, it would have been off the mirror.
The mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And here, and I don't want to get into stereotypes, but
they exist for a reason.
What do you think she looked like?
Did she have the plastic screen on her face in the car by herself?
No, she didn't have that.
Let's see. I'm guessing the hair had an interesting color.
It was dark, but
Okay.
but you're on the right track with
short
the
hair.
Yes,
female.
Yes.
Maybe even parted on the side.
Yeah, it was the
Dark glasses.
Dark glasses. the dark rim glass. It was the
Pointy chin. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was the quintessential NPR look.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
It really. I'm sure she had 3 or 4 dash names on it, and it tells you so much. Because I saw that bumper sticker, and I'm trying to move up. I'm like, oh, come on. Is this? And I'm like, and I drove upside and I kind of looked over. I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I thought.
You got to do it though, man. You have to look whenever you see these bumper stickers, no matter who they are, they could be in something on the right. You got to go. All right, I got to check this out.
Yeah, because you see some, and I'll see them. Like for instance, on the right too. I'm driving. I'm like, yep, that's right. There's the bushy gray beard. There's the Yep. Oh, look, there's the bumper sticker with the eagle and the cross and the flag. And,
Yep.
That looks about right. That's right. That's what I see.
All right, bro.
But other ones, I mean, there are bumper stickers that tell you nothing.
Yes.
St. Louis, you're going to drive around, you're going to see a St. Louis Blues or a St. Louis Cardinals. Well, that can be a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. That tells me nothing other than I'm part of St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. You live in the relative area here. That's it.
And I have a sticker. It is STL. I mean, it's just
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Yeah.
Or the LaFleur.
LaFleur,
is out there.
It's in there.
Which I think is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, those are nice.
I like that one. I'm not a big bumper sticker person.
I'm not at all a bumper sticker.
I mean, the coolest people have News Talk STL bumper stickers on their vehicles.
Obviously.
I have mine on my bumper.
There you go.
And you can get one here.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can.
You just ask.
I didn't ask the boss, but if you call in or email us and want one, we'll send you one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll send you a couple.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when
we do that, actually.
Yeah. When I see thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with medicine.
It's
at all.
It's very much in line with the whole cult of personality that tends to rise up within the lefty sphere. Like they grab a person, it's like, oh, and they're the ones who feed the egos of these people that make them say things like, I represent science. It's like it makes them the arbiters of what is.
I represent science.
Exactly. So he thinks that because of ladies like that.
When Mike said that originally about Fauci's that Fauci sticker, it just immediately reminded me of that meme of that person that got on. They made a post and they said, "Oh yeah, Joe Biden, we so appreciate what you have done as president. You are making America an incredible place to live." You know, all that stuff. And I'm thinking, wait, what?
They can't believe. They can't believe what they're saying
actually
about that with Biden.
this.
I mean, everybody sees what's going on here. There's just how much circling of the wagons are you going to need to do on this?
Yeah. It always makes me question the what 29 or 30% or some people who are yes, the country is going the right direction. We approve of the president's job. Those people.
Yeah.
It's like I can't believe that you actually believe that.
You might need to believe it because it's the mantra. It's really you've invested in it so much.
Right. It would hurt your psyche.
Right.
to leave it alone and to admit reality. But I mean, I get that aspect of it, but you can't, in your heart of hearts, believe that this is better.
Oh, goodness. All right. Speaking of getting better, we can do that in St. Louis County. St. Louis County Police Officers Association takes a side in the executive race, and we're going to talk to their executive director at 7:35 right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
Nothing short of bad.
Vladimir Putin threatened
not to ease tensions, but to escalate them through the threat of nuclear weapons.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. A U.S. district judge sentenced a 43-year-old St. Louis County woman to a year and a day in prison after reaping fraudulent pandemic funds and ordered her to repay $267,239. The woman used the funds to go on vacations and buy real estate. State utility regulators at the Missouri Public Service Commission approved a 47-cent monthly increase for Spire's residential customers in the region, which may take effect later this month. The change aims to cover infrastructure costs from the first half of the year. The Board of Aldermen voted 19-4 on Friday to give initial approval for incentives on the Armory Entertainment Venue project without consent from the aldermen whose ward the project is in. City leaders have for months been debating the practice of deferring to aldermen for projects within their own wards since federal prosecutors indicted 3 board members this summer for taking bribes in exchange for supporting development tax breaks. Grover, a North American river otter who's called the St. Louis Zoo home for the last 19 years, has died, the zoo announced on Friday in a Facebook post. Grover was born at the zoo in 2003, and since then he's fathered 6 litters of pups throughout his time. And the Blues ended the preseason Saturday with a 6-0 shutout of the Blackhawks at Enterprise and a record of 6 wins and 2 losses. The regular season begins Saturday at Enterprise against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Puck drop will be at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound stop-and-go traffic between 55 and Doherty Ferry. This is from an earlier accident after Doherty Ferry. All lanes are back open. There is about a 17-minute delay in that area. 270 westbound from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald. Traffic's running about 24 minutes. And construction work 270 eastbound at West Florissant has the right lane blocked until about 2:30 this afternoon. All lanes are back open. 55 at Truman from an earlier vehicle fire on the exit ramp, and 55 northbound slow traffic as you approach Gasconade for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Tony Colombo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, and I really mean all your dental needs. Dr. Boscia focuses on utilizing the latest technology to pass along the benefits and huge number of services to his patients, which saves you time, money, and reduces discomfort in many cases. He also focuses on your convenience by offering early morning and evening appointments to limit disruption to you and your kid's schedule, and to being available for same-day and emergency treatment. A broken or infected tooth can shut down your entire life, and that's why Dr. Boscia can usually treat you the same day you call about an issue, right there in the office without you having to be referred or make additional appointments with a specialist. In almost every case, Dr. Boscia is the only dental professional you need, and that's why Christine and I trust him with our family. Learn about all those great services and see if he's right for your family by visiting newcreationdentalcare.com. That's newcreationdentalcare.com.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
If elections are a relay race, think of this as the final stretch. Here we are less than 30 days away from the election. We've got big issues on the ballot, which we're going to be covering. U.S. Senate race in Missouri, obviously governor's race in Illinois, the various amendments that are on the ballot, not just locally, but statewide, particularly in Missouri. But I am going to argue, as I've argued before, that the race for St. Louis County Executive is the most consequential one to the St. Louis region.
Absolutely.
That is my argument.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying just for St. Louis County, but for the entire region. I think that this particular election is crucial because it has to do with the direction of the county. It has to do with the functioning competence of the county government. It has to do with trust in government. And yes, it has to do with public safety as well. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here, joined now by Joe Patterson. He is the executive director of the St. Louis County Police Officers Association. And Joe, first of all, appreciate you being on News Talk STL. Secondly, when you all made the endorsement in this case, Mark Mantovani for county executive, that was pretty bold considering you're going against an incumbent. So there's that whole political side of this. But you weren't pulling punches as to why you were making this endorsement. So go into a little bit depth on this. You've been keeping receipts going back to Prop P.
Yeah, Mike, that's right. When Prop P first passed, I mean, it was a little controversial in the sense that nobody really wants a tax increase, and a lot of my members don't want a tax increase. Most of us are St. Louis Countyans. We spend our money in the county, and like I said, nobody likes paying taxes, but we realized that investing in public safety was investing in the region. St. Louis County is the economic engine of the state, and I talk to business owners on a weekly basis that tell me they can't recruit qualified talent from outside the region because of the stigma that surrounds St. Louis region when it comes to a crime issue.
Good morning, Joe. Gabe Pfeiffer here. One of the things that concerned me when Prop P came up for a vote, and the reason I voted against it was because I did not trust the government to spend it actually on public safety, and that seems to be one of the primary drivers for the police association's endorsement of Mantovani. Could you explain for our listeners exactly how that happened, or what you're seeing in terms of the funding for coming out of Prop P?
Sure. So again, this was controversial. The way that it was written, there's no 100% guarantee that every single cent. There can be supplantation of the funds through kind of some tricky maneuvers as saying, oh, okay, well, for example, one of the early ones that Page did was with the nurses in the jail. They're part of the public safety program, our system. So we're going to go ahead and move their pay over to the money that comes from Prop P. And it's like, well, wait a second, they're health department employees. And I realize they work in the jail, but they're certainly not first responders. And that wasn't the intent of the voters that did pass Proposition P. So that's just one small example. There's been several others since then. And we pledged to be sort of the watchdogs to the public. And we've been keeping tabs, and we're going to sound the alarm every single time. And if it's $1 of Prop P money that goes to something that's not directly involved with public safety, people are going to hear about it from us.
Good morning, Joe. This is Ken Williams. You obviously feel that Mantovani is going to deliver for the St. Louis County Police Department. What is the one thing, the main thing that the St. Louis County Police Department needs from St. Louis County government?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you the one thing we need that the entire region needs is a crime plan. I think, especially for our friends that are on the left side of the aisle, talking about crime is inconvenient for them. But the simple fact of the matter is that crime is the number one issue in the St. Louis region. We've got a tremendous amount of issues to work through. But if our people aren't safe and they don't feel safe, we can't start tackling some of those other things that are further down the line. So the fact that the Page administration just doesn't even talk about crime, they don't say that it's good, they don't say that it's bad, they just don't mention it. And that right then of itself is an issue. And Mark Mantovani comes in and says, look, this is going to be priority number 1A for me. I want to stabilize the region when it comes to crime control. I want to be a leader. What do you guys need? And that alone is 100 times more we've gotten from the Page administration.
We're visiting with Joe Patterson from the St. Louis County Police Officers Association. Joe, a lot of people think of the crime issue as one that, boy, that's in the city. I mean, sure, there's some people who live close enough to the city that are affected by it, but St. Louis County's fine. I mean, it's just a city thing. Well, I think Steve Ellman up in St. Charles County made a good point when he says, no, this is a regional issue. So whatever that plan is going to be, if Mark Mantovani is elected, who's at the table making the plan or developing the plan at it? And what do you want to see that plan do and be and address?
Yeah, I mean, so in St. Louis County, let's get our house in order. Let's get the county police department. Let's bring other stakeholders. There are community members. There's members of the clergy. There could possibly be members of the health department involved at the table. I mean, it has to be a multifaceted approach. Once we sort of come up with a plan that's going to kind of cut the grass in our own backyard, then we need to start worrying about the neighborhood, right? Take care of your house, then take care of your block. And I think Jefferson County and St. Charles County, all of our bordering counties, certainly need to be at that table because, quite frankly, criminals don't respect borders. They're not going to go, oh, man, that carjacking I'm going to do is about 2 blocks in the county. I need to stay in the city because it's the city that's got the crime problem, not the county.
Of course, if I were a carjacker, I'd probably want to stay in the city because there's less chance you're going to get prosecuted.
Well, yeah.
For that. I don't know. Okay, so we're with Joe Patterson once again from the County Police Officers Association. I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation here, Joe, that your officers work for the county. I mean, St. Louis County Police Department. So it's kind of gutsy to endorse against the guy who's already in office. I'm reading into that to say that your membership is pretty passionate about who you want leading the county because ultimately that's the executive, that's the administrator who's directing a lot of this policy.
No, absolutely. And that's the key is that you mentioned earlier on the lead-in here is that this is the most important election for St. Louis Countyans. Eric Schmidt's a dear friend of the Police Association. We've endorsed him. We're supporting him. He's been at the table with us the whole time. We're going to send him to Washington, D.C. He's not going to shut our businesses down. He's not going to not give us a crime plan in Washington, D.C. Your day-to-day life is going to be most impacted by who is the county executive for the next 4 years. So we're paying close attention. I think this is we're putting a lot of skin in the game. We're going to certainly go on record that we're going to demand that our leaders actually be leaders and take a position on crime. And first off, address it and admit that it's an issue. We can't solve a problem until we actually admit there is a problem. So, yeah, Mark has been with us the entire time, actually sits down and meets. And the key is like, hey, guys, what do you need? I don't know what the plan's going to be. I'm going to talk to everybody, and I'm going to actually lead. And that's what's refreshing.
And are you looking at any of the other races to either get involved in or at least make endorsements, or is the focus on the county executive's race primarily?
I mean, that's the focus primarily, but we've also got Dennis Hancock and Mark Harder in the St. Louis County Council. Mark's been a tremendous asset to the Police Association. I'm proud to call him a friend personally. And then Dennis Hancock's former mayor of Fenton, running to replace Tim Fitch on the County Council, and looking forward to getting Dennis in there as well.
Hey, Joe, on behalf of NewstalkSTL, I just want to say that we fully support the St. Louis County Police Department and all of our police.
No, well, thank you very much. And it's refreshing. And privately, I have these conversations all the time. And I know we've got more support than what you see maybe on social media and some other outlets. But crime is a regional issue. It starts here in our own backyard. So, let's elect a leader and put them in Clayton, somebody that can actually come up with a plan and address the problem and admit there's a problem. So we're looking forward to getting Mark in there if we can. And it's not going to be an easy task, but with a lot of good support, I think we can get it done.
Hey, real quick, Joe, a lot of people tend to think of this in terms of statistics and numbers. What is it that people need to understand about, we talk about the crime problem. A lot of time we're talking politics, but we're talking about real life in our communities, even those of us who live in areas that we say, well, that could never happen here. What are you seeing on the ground, or what are the trends?
Well, I guess the first thing for awareness is I always tell people, everyone's sick of hearing about this on the news, the crime issue. And also the point is with that, very little of the crime that happens is actually reported on the news. There's just so much of it, right? Some of them aren't as sexy as other stories. So that doesn't mean somebody wasn't bleeding. And then with that being said, violent crime is the number one issue. The small stuff we can deal with. That's going to be anywhere. But, there are people in the further stretches of West County that are being carjacked. The other one that's super disturbing is these car break-ins where property owners are confronting people and having guns pulled on them. I mean, car break-ins are normally a teenager thing, and now it's an armed, violent felon thing. So just the trend toward violence is what's most concerning.
All right, Joe Patterson, St. Louis County Police Officers Association, website, social media, where do you want people to get in touch?
Yeah, if you want to ever reach out or learn more about our association, you can go to www.slcpa.org.
All right, Joe, appreciate you being on the show.
Great, thanks, guys.
All right, the number here is 314-912-1019. Speaking of law enforcement, I've got a story from New Jersey. A woman displays exactly how to not get a job.
All right.
So in case you guys were thinking about applying, I've got the how not to do it. just to save you some trouble. I'll tell you about it at 7:51 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 270 northbound stop-and-go traffic between 55 and Manchester. An earlier accident before Manchester had the left lane closed. All lanes are back open. 270 eastbound at West Florissant. Construction work has the right lane closed until about 2:30 this afternoon. 55 northbound is slow from Weber Road to Gasconade. This is for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. 4064 eastbound slow Chesterfield Parkway west to east. And again from 270 to Spady, and heavy traffic as you approach 170. And 170 northbound after Page, there's construction work that has the right lane closed until 1 p.m. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Hey, hope you're having a great weekend. Monday on the show, we will talk to John Cooper from the Heritage Foundation. He's the good John Cooper, not the stupid, dumb John Cooper on Twitter. So join us at 9:05 Monday.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Decision 22 News.
The inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
How not to get a job at a police department. I'll tell you about that in just a second. I was looking at my Twitter feed and something just popped up. St. Louis Post-Disgrace. They had a link to their story that they published today. Missouri Senate likely to shift further right this election. And so I'm looking at the subtitle. 2 hard right members of the Missouri House, Reps Mary Elizabeth Coleman and Nick Schroer, are expected to win open Senate seats. I didn't even read past that, but it's like hard right, like we describe Eastern Europeans. Hard right. Oh, hard. Hey, Post-Disgrace, we can only hope that the state Senate moves farther to the right, given the nonsense of the leadership up there. But I just thought I'd bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the media has a tendency to do such things. This morning I was watching a report on News Channel 4, and it was Jay Ashcroft. And they were talking about the election and everything and how difficult it is in Illinois. It needs to be up above board, and people need to trust the process. And they talked to Jay Ashcroft, and he's giving them the information that they needed to have. And then they went right over to Illinois to this woman who's just completely depressed because she can't get out and vote. And it's like, dude, that had nothing to do with Missouri, but go ahead.
Right.
You do your thing.
And by the way, Illinois voters, you don't need to show an ID to vote, so I'm sure everything's fine.
I'm sure it'll work out. It'll work out, guys.
Okay, so let's say you want to get a job with I don't know, just pulling something out of my hat, local sheriff's department. Okay, so a 27-year-old woman applied for a job as just a security guard at a police station. So not like a fully certified, post-certified officer, just somebody there to do security, probably check people in at the gate or whatever the case is. And she was applying in Jersey City, New Jersey. Her name is Zayema Johnson.
Okay.
So she applies. Hey, she wants to get a job. Great. She wants to. That's fantastic. Well, it turns out she applied for the police department, and they figured out that she had 11 outstanding warrants.
So ahead of a job interview, what you're supposed to do, even before you apply, is learn about what that company does or what that organization, like what their job is, because that way you can be prepared to answer questions about it's like how would you help them do those things. But I guess what she was playing 4D chess on this, and she said, "I'm going to help you find an outstanding warrant." Or someone with outstanding warrants.
Right.
I'm going to turn myself in. Look, I just cleared 11 of your outstanding warrants.
I'm good at outstanding warrants, and I can show you a bunch of other people who are having outstanding warrants.
You want to deal with crime control? Let me tell you something. I know crime.
That's right.
Intimately.
She was wanted in Pennsylvania for failing to appear in court on fraud charges. She had 10 bench warrants out of New Jersey for not appearing in courts on traffic violations. Was this my... No, that's not my ex-wife. And then on top of all that, they went and arrested her because she put her address on the application. And they found 2 stolen credit cards on her.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So they tacked on a couple credit card theft charges as well. She's potentially looking at some actually significant jail time for all of this put together. And in case you were wondering, she actually did not get the job.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she did not get the job.
Yeah, she didn't get that call back she was looking for then.
Well, she did. It was just...
It was a different guy.
A little harder knocking.
Police!
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
More like pounding.
11 warrants. Plus the 2 stolen credit cards. Nice.
I'm sure. I could just picture somebody like that going, okay, just don't look in the backyard, okay?
I do appreciate, though, when criminals are dumb.
Oh, I love that.
Now, Rebecca's on the line, and I don't know if you want to take it, but we can take it because it's police related. And she was giving us an update. And remember the kid? Here, let me have her on.
Okay.
And go ahead, Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca, you're on Newstalk STL.
Hi, I'll try to keep it brief. This kid that I was trying to help out because he lost his mom, and he got pulled over in a carload of kids, 6 kids in the car, only black kid in the car, got pulled out of the car, put in the back seat of the police car, and he was real upset because he felt like it was racial profiling, and I did too. And so I called the radio station and said that, blah, blah, blah. But
I kind of remember that. Yeah, I kind of remember that, yeah.
Yeah, our police are real nice in Dupo, in my opinion. I've dealt with them before, and they're very nice. So I was, betwixt and between, but I thought, yeah, this kid was racially profiled. And then later the kid told me, you know what, that policeman Zimmerman or whatever who in Dupo who pulled me out, he talked real nice to me, and he was a gentleman, and everything was good about it. And he told me. Now, here's the unfortunate update on the end of the story. This kid was hanging out with some kids he shouldn't have been with because he wasn't a bad kid, in my opinion. And he got involved somehow, and he stole a car.
Oh.
So now, last I knew, he was an 18-year-old kid. in jail in St. Clair County. I've not used any names or anything like that. But, I'd say one thing that was a pat on the back to Officer Zimmer or Zimmerman, whichever his name is, and also it was the rest of this story sometimes is a sad ending because I feel bad for the kid.
Yeah.
And, but, I had to tell the rest of the story in interest of full disclosure.
That's what we're about, Rebecca. Thank you.
Hey, Rebecca, I got to get to an information segment in just a minute.
Thank
Appreciate you being on the program there. So something, whatever it was that tipped off the officer wasn't about profiling. It's about something that was going on.
Yeah. That's you.
I'm glad you updated us.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that police officers that there's never a case where this happens. It happens.
Oh, absolutely.
And it happens, more than we probably care to admit, but it doesn't happen nearly as much as the narrative would claim.
Right.
All right, just ahead, we've heard the arguments, the accusations. Boy, if you're conservative, you're Christian nationalist. You're wanting to run people's... Well, what does that actually mean? So I've got one of the premier researchers, if not the premier researcher, on what that actually is and is not. You're going to want to hear this as we head into the final stretch of the elections. Just ahead, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump telling a huge rally in Mesa, Arizona last night.
You're going to make an incredible woman incredible. Carrie Lake, your next governor. She's an incredible woman, incredible person. Look at the crowd that you drew, Carrie.
Mr. Trump holding a series of campaign-style rallies in the run-up to next month's important midterm elections. And while he has had a lot to say, one thing the former president has not said is whether he plans another run for the White House. A presidential address, this one from the president of Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky addressing his people following a barrage of Russian missile strikes on cities around the country, including Kiev.
Zelensky says Russian forces launched dozens of missiles and Iranian-built drones against Ukraine. The General Staff of the Ukraine Armed Forces adding 75 missiles were fired, with 41 of them neutralized by air defenses. In his video address, Zelensky says the targets were civilian areas and energy facilities in 10 cities. The Russians had chosen such a time and such targets on purpose to inflict the most damage. The morning strikes sent Kyiv residents back into bomb shelters for the first time in months. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
New York's Republican gubernatorial candidate says his teen daughters were home when bullets flew outside the family's Long Island residence yesterday afternoon. The shooting, which police say had nothing to do with Lee Zeldin's family, left 2 people injured. The victims sheltered beneath the Zeldin family's front porch. Crime's been a big issue in the campaign. Zeldin says, like many New Yorkers, crime has come knocking on his front door. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 53 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Chucky. 270 northbound stop-and-go traffic from Tesson Ferry to Manchester. 40 eastbound stop-and-go Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor. Slow 270 to Spady and 170 to Big Bend. 6440 westbound slowing as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge and 40 westbound slow Hampton to Hanley and from Spady to Ballas. 70 westbound after 94 construction work has the right lane closed until about 4 p.m. this afternoon. A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to Chucky stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky, Season 2, airing Wednesday, 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Newstalk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. That's 800-649-8619.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president.
We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
Newstalk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Mike Ferguson.
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I love Jesus. He was my superhero.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Twitter is like being able to read every toilet wall in the world.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin
Some of the topics that we get to cover on a program like this are fascinating to me because they cross over. And this one is exactly that. We're talking about culture. We're talking about politics. We're also talking about individuality. We're talking about faith. And you could say it crosses over. Other people say it crashes together. I'm Mike Ferguson. I'm now joined by Dr. Mark David Hall. He is the Herbert Hoover Distinguished Professor of Politics, and he's also a faculty fellow in the honors program at George Fox University. And Mark, first of all, I appreciate you being on the program. Secondly, I'm going to throw out a term that is going to make somebody either get really mad about it or say, yeah, we're going to defend that. Christian nationalism. You've done so much research and writing and discussion of this, but if somebody can control terms and somebody can control framing, they can generally control a conversation about it. So let's start in the most basic way we can. How do you define what the term Christian nationalism actually is?
You know, that's a great question. Let me back away a little bit and say prior to a year ago, no one in America was saying, I am a Christian nationalist. It was a term only used by critics from 2006 to January 6, 2021. People who use Christian nationalism defined it as a toxic conflation of God and country that was racist and sexist and homophobic and militarist and, just a horrible toxic mix. Over the last year, of course, some Christians have said, wait a minute, I'm a Christian nationalist. And what they mean by that is not this horrible toxic mix. They just mean that that nations are good things. They're better than globalization. They're better than anarchy. And that Christianity is an important part of our culture that should be protected and promoted by the government. And so I think there's two very different definitions of Christian nationalism out there. I'm inclined to say that Christian nationalism simply means that you believe that Christianity is a very important part of America, that it should be specially protected and promoted by the government, that maybe the Congress should declare America to be an officially Christian nation, that Christian prayers might be held in public schools to the exclusion of other sorts of prayers, teacher-led Christian prayers. And so that's what I would say Christian nationalism actually is. And I would challenge both the critics of it and also those relatively few Christians that are embracing it. I think neither of their approaches is wise or prudent.
You just mentioned up till January 6th of 2021. What was it about that, unfortunately, infamous day that was a line of demarcation in your eyes?
Sure. I actually have a brief story about that. So I was flying home from a speaking engagement on January 6th, and when I did a layover in Dallas, I got a call from a reporter, and she said, I'm interested in your comments on the Christian nationalist symbols on the attack on the Capitol. And so I said, well, I would like to see those. And she sent me 5 images, 2 of which were taken 1.5 miles from the Capitol, and 2 of which were Revolutionary era flags, a Pine State flag that has the words "an appeal to heaven," which could be from Judges, but it could also be from John Locke. And then this crazy looking picture of a goth holding a Bible. And, like no one I've ever seen in church before. And what I saw instead was a sea of American flags and MAGA hats. And so I cautioned her. I said, we should be careful calling this a Christian nationalist attack on the Capitol, but she ignored me completely. And like so many other news outlets, led off the next day with a big headline, Christian nationalists have attacked the U.S. Capitol. And so this sort of got me into this business of looking into Christian nationalism. And what I think, and what I'm pretty sure I found, in fact, is that there's a narrative at work. There are people who want to believe that Christian nationalism is this big, scary giant, a bunch of Christian theocrats who want to take over the country and oppress everyone else. And I think it's a narrative, a false narrative that has almost no connection to reality.
All right, and we'll get into the critiques of supporters of it in a minute. But Mark, how would this compare to, say, the so-called religious right of the Pat Robertson and some would say Pat Buchanan and Ralph Reed, Alan Keyes sort of era back in, 80s, 90s, and in that era? Is this looked at as something similar, or is this looked at as a different ideology than just the very conservative wing of a Republican Party?
I would say it's a manifestation of that same body of literature in the 80s, 90s, and early 21st century that said there are group of Christians who want to take over the country and oppress everyone else, and Muslims and Hindus and Jews and atheists won't be welcome. You had a bunch of books saying this sort of thing back in the 20th century. Basically, the terms have switched, and now it's Christian nationalists who want to take over the country and oppress everyone else. So I would say it's very, very similar. And again, I would suggest this represents almost no Christian that I actually know. And I'm an evangelical Christian. I run in evangelical circles, including in places like Oklahoma, where we lived for 8 years. And I know almost no one who embraces these sorts of ideas.
So where does that caricature come from? Is this somebody hijacking the term Christian or confusing the term nationalist with patriotic? I mean, if that's what media, which obviously we know there's a lot of bias in media, but where does that caricature come from? There's got to be somebody out there like that. But what I'm hearing you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, is that there aren't that many out there, even though some people probably fit the mold.
No, exactly right. I think there's a clear agenda at work, and the agenda is to say that conservative Christians should not bring their faith into the public square or argue for policies based on their religious convictions. And the authors of these works are pretty open about this. They say the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is great, and we should praise him for bringing his faith into the public square to argue for civil rights. But when Christians bring their faith into the public square to argue for restrictions on abortion or for a robust understanding of religious liberty, this is Christian nationalism, and this cannot be tolerated. So I think there's a clear agenda at work to say to conservative Christians, keep your faith to yourself. You're welcome to it. You can go to your church and pray and worship however you want, but don't you dare bring it into the public square.
We are visiting with Dr. Mark David Hall from George Fox University. Okay, the last few minutes we've got here, Mark, let's talk about the application of this. If we want to have an honest debate or discussion over the issues, have one with integrity, which I'm convinced not a lot of people actually want to do that. They just want to do battle. It sounds to me like what I'm hearing you say is that if you can put the labels on, you can put your political or your ideological opponent on their heels and get a victory that way. So if you've got somebody who is simply looking at something that's conservative and saying, we're going to label them with that, what are the things they should worry about if they're trying to mislabel somebody with a connotative slur?
Yeah, I would say the best thing we can do is probably just avoid these labels and say, look, I don't want to argue about whether I'm a Christian nationalist or not. Let's talk about the issues. Should innocent human life in the womb be protected or not? And when should it be protected? Should a cake baker be free not to participate in a same-sex wedding ceremony if he has religious objections to doing so? Should we have reasonable controls at our nation's borders? And I think we can argue about these things, and it will become evident that most people, even if they have so-called conservative positions on these issues, are not racist, homophobic, sexist, and that sort of thing. Let me give you one example from sociologists, one of the better works on this, and there are a lot of horrible works. So to say it's better is not to say it's good. Whitehead and Perry, Taking America Back for God, they clearly state that if you are pro-life, you simply are interested in controlling women's bodies. Now, this is absurd. We know, and we've known for decades, that women are just as likely to be pro-life as men. And so are you telling me that the 20% or so of American women who would ban all abortions are simply concerned with controlling women's bodies? It's ridiculous. And anyone who knows a pro-life person, Christian, atheist, or whatever, knows that they're concerned with protecting innocent human life, not with controlling anyone.
So is this a matter of finding a balance with bringing faith into public square and into the body politic? Or is this a matter of some people are not being honest about people who simply live their faith in the public square?
You know, I think the critics are simply not being honest. Of course, we as Christians have to think very carefully about the relationship between our faith and public policy. So, for instance, as a Christian, I would say it's profoundly immoral to have an extramarital affair, but I'm not sure we should have laws that prosecute people for doing so, right? On the other hand, as a Christian, I believe that innocent human life in the womb must be protected in the same way that we protect human life outside of the womb. And I'm happy to argue for that. And I can give religious arguments for it, but I can also give secular, prudential arguments in favor of the same outcome.
All right. The website is very simply markdavidhall.org, it looks like. And a number of books out there. You got one coming out here in the next several months, it looks like.
That's right. I'm really pushing it back against this 1619 Project narrative. I argue that, in fact, Christianity has been a great force for liberty and equality throughout all of American history, from the Puritans to the present day. So that book will be out in April, but you can pre-order it now.
All right, markdavidhall.org. Dr. Mark David Hall, appreciate you being on the program. A lot to think about.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
All right, is it a matter of the critics don't have the definitions correct and they're just throwing out slurs? Or is this a matter of trying to reclaim some title? There's a difference between nationalism and patriotism by definition. And so I think a lot of times we're throwing out terms that we're just looking to slur somebody else. So what do you think? Let's talk about it. 314-912-1019. Got plenty of time to get your thoughts in right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 64 westbound after the Poplar Street Bridge, there's a crash blocking the left lane. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 3rd Street on the Illinois side. 40 westbound stop and go Clayton Skinker to Big Bend and slow Lindbergh to Ballas. 270 northbound jammed from Gravois to Doherty Ferry. 70 westbound after Highway 94, there's construction work that has the left lane closed until about 4 p.m. this afternoon. And 170 southbound is slow from the Parkway to 40 for that jam on 40 westbound. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
Fox News commentary.
A California high school has banned the thin blue line flag on campus, saying it's too divisive. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Democrats predicted an end to high inflation, but nothing has changed. In fact, food and housing prices are still going higher. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings from inflation by diversifying into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, simply text the word SHELTER to 989898, and you'll get a free info kit on gold IRAs that will explain everything. Again, that's SHELTER to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required.
A high school located in Santa Clarita, California banned the thin blue line police flag on campus, and the school's head football coach decided to stop displaying it at games for the first time since 2019. Now, prior to the whiny wokesters throwing this cancel culture tantrum, the football team would run out onto the field with the flag before each game to show respect and gratitude for the 3 off-duty police officers who rushed into harm's way during a mass shooting at the school in 2019. The gunman shot 5 classmates and killed 2, including himself, and who knows how many more would have been hurt or killed if not for those selfless officers. But now the football team is barred from honoring them thanks to a cadre of woke losers who view the pro-law enforcement flag as a symbol of white supremacy, which makes no sense. Why is it that the 99% of decent folks who support the police have to kowtow to the 10% who are offended by law and order? This is utterly ridiculous and embarrassing. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
When does spring training start? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a little hurt from
March or something like that. April.
All right, never mind. All right. Hey, I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 8:22. Got to look at some of the big news stories here in just a moment. At 8:35, at some point, we have to stop trying to claim celebrities as an asset to a movement. Kanye West proves that he's a moron. Once again, we'll talk about that at 8:35. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is coming up on 8:23 right now. Susie Moore, our friend and deputy editor of Red State, she just posted a really good article, redstate.com, regarding the whole PayPal situation. And if you haven't heard about this, over the weekend, it was discovered that PayPal had updated their terms of service and slipped in a little thing in there that says, oh, we amended the contract to say, if you are involved in misinformation and we can somehow connect it to you using our service to do something, we're going to fine you $2,500, up to $2,500. And people found out about that and all hell breaks loose. And then they say, oh, no, we didn't actually mean that. Sorry, we're deleting that. That was an accident. Total accident. We didn't mean that. Never mind. Move along. Nothing to see here, people.
Yeah, they got hit hard real fast.
Gosh, did they ever.
Well,
that was crazy.
Within a couple of days of my hearing about it, I haven't used PayPal in a little while, but I had a full account there. And I said, okay, I thought, let me get all of my information away from them. I don't want them to have even a bit of it. So I canceled my subscription. Beforehand, though, I called them and I said, who are the people who decide what is misinformation? And the person on the other end of the line, probably someone, just an associate.
Yeah,
or
they're in a
kind.
call center somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Said, I don't even know what you're talking about. I said, well, can you get a supervisor? And she said, well, not really. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, okay, so no one can tell me who's the disinformation decider. And so therefore I was done.
Right. So they've reversed that policy, but it also goes to show you a couple things. Is that these large, massive behemoth corporations really do feel it's part of their job to regulate and manage and intimidate us. First of all, PayPal doesn't have any sort of legal right to say, we're mad at you, we're going to take money away from you as a fine for doing something that offends us.
Right.
They don't have that authority. That's wire fraud. That's theft. But good luck getting charges pressed against anybody or getting your money back. And so they realized this was a massive legal class action type of nightmare. So their argument that, oh, it was an accident, never mind, is just insulting to the intelligence. Now we know there's just another company, as if you trusted PayPal in the first place, that was a mistake. But now we know, make sure you don't trust them. Don't keep any money in your account.
Yeah, as James Wood said on social media, go with the first thing they said.
Yeah, just.
And can you imagine, Mike, imagine, you're all right.
I lean forward, forgetting that anything on the left side of my face I can't see, and I just leaned in and smacked my microphone. Sorry about that. I am a radio professional. Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was saying that, imagine if they got away with this. Imagine if PayPal got away with it and started doing that. Then another company came along and said,
okay, well, we're going to do the same thing. And then, that snowball continues. And as the snowball gets bigger, it gets much more difficult for us to fight it.
Let's have some fun and say that instead of Venmo, there's like Rightmo. And they decide to compete, except they're conservatives. And anytime you say something woke, they fine you $50.
Yeah.
Oh, the market would lose its mind and the media would lose their mind. But this kind of escaped a lot of coverage. So check out redstate.com. Susie's got a really good article on that. I was just reading in the last information segment. Also, price of gas going up again. You already knew that. This could influence politics, obviously. I think you already knew that, but the gas prices could go up even more. Fox News' Alexandria Hoff has that story.
At $3.91 a gallon, gas prices are 60% higher now than when President Biden took office. And while the chief economic advisor for Alliance told Face the Nation this weekend that he predicts headline inflation will come down to about 8% as the latest consumer price index is released this week, he added that core inflation, which measures the drivers, is likely on the rise. Republican Congressman Tom Emmer feels that the country has been prioritizing issues that Democrats have simply not. Republicans still have to convince voters that they are the ones to solve those issues. The midterms are now 28 days away.
And so gasoline for your car isn't the only thing that's going up. If you are a Spire customer, and I think that's pretty much most of St. Louis, if not all of St. Louis, most of St. Louis, expect your gas bills for your house, your heating, to go up. There's going to be a 47-cent monthly increase for infrastructure costs. They went through the process and said, hey, this infrastructure situation costs more. So 47 cents. All right, you're not going to notice that. That's not a big deal. But they are also asking the Missouri Public Service Commission to approve another rate hike, this one to bring in $151 million for them. But it looks like if it is approved, it would raise your gas bill about 10% starting in the middle of the winter.
Okay, and if you're paying that bill, if you're paying your gas bill and you're paying your electric bill and all that, understand one thing. This is all on Biden's policies. Okay, you can say whatever he wants about Russia and all that. We're floating. We are floating on a sea of natural gas. We've stopped any form of fracking, any form of oil production of any kind, pretty much for the most part in this country. Our strategic oil reserves are going to be depleted completely if he continues to do what he's doing at 1 million barrels a day. Just know that this is Biden's policies and he can do something about it. He keeps saying that, oh, I'm doing all I can. He is not.
No, he's not. Yeah. Short answer, yeah. I don't have anything to add to that. Governor Mike Parson not on board with President Biden's call for a pardon of those convicted of low-level marijuana offenses. KMOV, our news partner's Samantha Jones, has the governor's reaction.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the governor indicated this would be handled on a case-by-case basis, saying the governor, quote, has used his state constitutional authority to grant pardons to individuals who demonstrate a changed lifestyle, commitment to rehabilitation, contrition, and contribution to their communities, rather than as a blanket approach to undermine existing law.
So, in other words, I think he's legally correct, but I think it would have been a nice gesture to do that. But, a lot of people, I think the Biden administration is really hoping that mass level pardon of the federal things is actually going to, win him some votes, maybe.
Yeah.
President Biden announcing an executive order. He is pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession.
One toke over the line, Joe Biden. One toke over the line. Proposing marijuana decriminalization, to me that sounds just fine. Thinking about the times I said, let's go, Brandon. Now I'm thinking Joe is alright. Cause now I've mellowed out and I'm thinking it'd be cool if token ain't a federal crime. One toke over the line, Joe Biden. One toke over the line. Proposing marijuana decriminalization, to me that sounds just fine.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, speaking of a little more craziness here around 8:34, let's talk about this Kanye West thing, even though I really, really don't want to. He says something else stupid, and it's just a reminder that let's not go to celebrities to make our cases for us, please. 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 This is 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Governor Mike Parson says he will not issue pardons for marijuana offenses despite a push from the president for governors to do so. In a statement, Parson's office indicated it would be handled on a case-by-case basis rather than as a blanket approach to undermine existing law. A mother whose son died less than an hour after he was transported from a Missouri jail to a state prison has won a $1.2 million settlement in a case that helped lead to suspensions, firings, and reforms. Daniel Stout, then 31, died in June of 2019, one of 5 county jail deaths that year. On Saturday, preliminary concept renderings for the future of Steinberg's skating rink in Forest Park were displayed to the public, which included plans for a second-story cafe. The president of Forest Park Forever said the main goal of the project is to utilize Steinberg as a year-round facility. A ribbon cutting was held in Baldwin on Friday at the Greensfelder Recreation Complex following a $10 million renovation. The renovation included a new ice rink, refrigeration package, locker rooms, entrance, and offices. And in sports, for the second straight season, the St. Louis Cardinals generated the best TV ratings among all 30 MLB teams through their local TV broadcast partner, Bally Sports Midwest. According to Nielsen Media Research, viewership of Cardinals baseball through Bally Sports increased 31% from last year and reached its highest engagement level since 2016. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 64 westbound, all lanes are back open after the Poplar Street Bridge from an earlier crash. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 3rd Street on the Illinois side. 40 westbound, tapping the brakes as you approach Hampton. Eastbound 40, slow as you approach 170. 270 northbound, stop and go in pockets between 44 and Manchester. And 270 westbound's on-ramp from northbound Limburg remains closed for ongoing construction work. 70 westbound after Highway 94, roadwork has a left lane closed until about 4 p.m. this afternoon. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A warmer day today with a high temperature in the low 80s. Normally we'd be in the low 70s this time of year, so we're above normal. And sunny skies with a little breeze out of the southwest warming us up. Overnight lows tonight near 60, but a chance of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms by Tuesday morning and really through the day at times on Tuesday. The high down to 70 and a pretty good chance of showers and storms and a low severe risk on Wednesday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today.
Okay, now's the right time to move for whatever reason. Maybe you're retiring. Maybe you need to get into a different school district. Maybe you need to downsize, upsize, whatever it is. But you're nervous about making that move because of all the crazy changes going on in the market. I get it, but that's why you need to call Rodney and Jen. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. You need to call Rodney and Jen today. Listen, call them right now. They've got their phone. They're up. Trust me. 314-810-SOLD. By the way, that's the same number I use when I call Rodney and Jen to talk about the real estate purchase and process that my wife and I are using them to go through as well. 314-810-SOLD. You're selling a house? I know, market's crazy. They've got so many pre-approved buyers. They guarantee that you are going to get an offer, but more importantly, you are going to get reliable, solid advice from experts who know the market, who get to know your needs and they care about your family's needs. That's why they sell up to 15 times more homes than the typical real estate agent in St. Louis, because they put their family business and their passion to work for you. There's a difference. That's my challenge. Call them 314-810-SOLD. After about a minute or two on the phone, you're going to realize, yep, Mike's right. There is a difference. Rodney and Jen Wallner, 314-810-SOLD.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcasts. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
What happens next?
Democrats' reckless policies have stuck the American people with an inflation crisis, a border crisis, a violent crime crisis, and an energy crisis.
Happens right here.
We're going to get control of inflation.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I know a lot of people are using that, hey, here's the countdown to the election day, but there's actually an important day both for Missouri voters and Illinois voters coming up this week. If you want to make sure that you are registered to vote in the November general election, November 8th general election. In Missouri, you need to be registered to vote, or your application, your form to fill out to register to vote needs to be in by Wednesday. Now, if you mail that in, that means it needs to be postmarked by Wednesday, or you can go to the county clerk's office or election board, whatever it is in your area, and you need to have that filled out and turned in by close of business on Wednesday to be able to vote in the next election on November 8th. And that means if you've moved, I mean, you moved from one apartment to another, you took advantage of Rodney and Jen Wallner and moved from one house to another, and you forgot to register to vote, make sure that you are registered. And if you're not sure if you're registered to vote, once again, contact your county clerk. You can go to the Secretary of State's office. In Illinois, that day's tomorrow, to make sure that you're registered to be able to vote in the election. So don't forget that very basic thing. You don't want to show up and go, you're not registered to vote, at least not here, and you realize, oh, crap, I'm in the other area, and then you're not eligible to vote at all.
And if, as Secretary Ashcroft always says, if you're registered, you will be able to vote.
Yep, exactly. And on the Missouri side, don't forget your photo ID, because Missourians in the legislature care about election integrity. On the Illinois side, just show up and tell them who you are. They got to let you vote anyway.
Give
no
them a piece
ID.
of paper with your name on it.
Not even that. Just say, my name is Ken Williams. I'm voting here, and they're fine. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm Mike Ferguson, coming up on 8:39 right now. Oh, good God. I really don't like talking about this, because you guys know I'm not a big fan of celebrity culture. I hate the fact that we idolize celebrities and put them up on a pedestal for something other than what they actually are. You know, there are great musicians out there who rise to the top, and instead of saying, man, I'm going to spend $100 to go see them in concert because they're a great musician, somebody gets famous, and so many people look at them and say, well, they must have a lot to say about complex societal issues. No, sometimes they're just a good singer or a good actor. And we get burned by this sometimes. The artist now apparently known as Ye.
Or Ye.
Or Ye. How does he say? I don't know. Kanye. Kanye West had his Instagram account restricted, had his Twitter account shut down, at least for a little while, because he proved once again that he's an idiot. Fox News' Christina Coleman has the latest.
Ye's Twitter account was blocked after he posted the following comment on Twitter. He said, quote, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. He also wrote on Twitter, who you think created cancel culture. Now, these are some of Ye's first posts on Twitter in nearly 2 years. He returned to Twitter on Friday after he was restricted from Instagram for posting a comment that the American Jewish Committee, a historic advocacy group, deemed anti-Semitic.
Okay, he didn't say DEFCON, which is,
No, he said DEFCON.
He said death. DEATH.
Right.
Death con, Death Con 3 on Jewish people. And he said, you blackball anyone who opposes your agenda, referring to Jewish people. I'm at a loss for words and I talk for a living. Why do people still consider this moron a source of anything? I mean, he had a special exclusive 2-part interview series with Tucker Carlson last week. And I'm looking at this on the screen when they're making a big deal out of this. And I'm thinking, why are you giving this guy attention? Why does anybody look to him as any sort of source of seriousness on anything? Stop.
Well, his bipolar situation, that's got to be something that you have to take into consideration, whether he's, where is he at that very moment? And when he's saying something when he was saying stuff that was favoring Donald Trump, I was behind him. But when you say something that's anti-Semitic, that's equal to, in my opinion, to racism. And then you have to say, well, you know what? I can't be on board with you.
So what happens when he swings back around and he talks about stuff that we might agree on?
This has affected him, Mike.
It should.
Well, it has. I mean, anyone unless he comes back and he has some kind of awakening where he says, I did something wrong. I said it was wrong, and then in time, maybe we can get over it. But you can't say stuff. You can't say things about racists, real racists, and then go back and say, oh, no, well, that was just something before.
See, I don't think you should be able to come back from the Jews did it in 2022 or any time, but especially right now. And then to say, well, you can't call me anti-Semitic because I'm black, which is basically what he's saying. I mean,
that's not true. I mean, I don't believe that.
Of course not. It's insane. So there's a balance between wanting to have sympathy for people, and he's talked about his mental illnesses out there, but we shouldn't be enabling this.
No. And you are enabling if you go along with it.
Yeah, and Tucker Carlson should not have been highlighting him and pumping this up like a big deal, like this is some important person he's doing this exclusive 2-part, 2-day interview with. So conservative media needs to stop trying to latch on to any celebrity who says something that's remotely in line with conservatives or any part of the right side of the spectrum. The left is going to run to their pop culture people because that's how they try to influence younger people. Okay, we need to reach younger people with our messages as well, but we're not going to match them celebrity for celebrity for celebrity. It's just not going to happen. We've got to do it in different ways. And so stop looking up at any sort of celebrity or ball player or rock star or rapper or anything like that, because we're just dumbing down the entire conversation. Let's not go along with that.
Well, the difference between us and the left is I can separate Robert De Niro from his stupid political speak and his acting ability. I mean, I love his work. I love his acting work. I can separate the two. The left cannot do that. Now, as we were talking about this morning with Gabe, we can't give up that outlet, that venue. We can't give up the culture.
Yeah, I want to fight for the culture. Absolutely.
Right. So you can't just ignore it and say, well, they got that. They can act that way. We have to figure out a way to be able to work through that and with them.
But do we have to go through entertainment to do it?
In a way, I think we do. Otherwise, we do give up that entertainment. If we give up celebrity and all celebrity and entertainment, then we're giving up a big slice of the culture.
314-912-1019. What's the answer here to that? I'd love to get your thoughts. We got, obviously Vic Porcelli is going to be in at around 9:04, but we've got time in the meantime on this. But this is how you get burned whenever somebody in media or in entertainment says something you remotely like, and then they latch onto, because let's say Kanye West swings back around and suddenly he's saying stuff we like again. Well, guess what? Now anybody who says, no, look, Kanye West is saying this. Look, kids, an anti-Semite said something you agree with. So what's on us right now because we weren't consistent in saying we don't pay attention to you, dude?
Okay, and then what do we say when you have anti-Semites like Ilhan Omar, who's actually a representative of the people?
Absolutely.
And then fellow Congress people say, see, look, Ilhan Omar said it. I mean, you've got to be able to navigate through all that. I would say, well, what Kanye West just said is I agree with, but now this anti-Semitic thing is still semi thing is still there. We've been
denouncing Ilhan Omar for long as we've been since she's been in office. And since she was running for office, we've been consistently distancing ourselves and saying that's why you don't take that person seriously. At this point, and Kanye West is the latest example, that's why you don't take this person seriously no matter what they say. Move on. We got to stop including them in the conversation. He's not a serious person. 314-912-1019. What are your thoughts on it? Hey, if I'm wrong, call me out. Let's talk. 314-912-1019.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Chucky. 64 westbound after the Poplar Street Bridge. All lanes are back open from an earlier accident. No delays as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge. 270 northbound stop and go traffic in pockets between 44 and Manchester. There is about a 6-minute delay in that area. Southbound 79, there's a report of an accident as you approach TR Hughes. There is a delay in that area. 170 northbound after Page. Construction work has the right lane closed until about 1 p.m. this afternoon. A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to chuck stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky Season 2 airing Wednesday, 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Columbo and Katie.
Will Katie be here on Monday? Your guess is as good as mine, but I promise somebody will be here to get you all the important news to start your week and talk to the former special assistant to President Trump, Mark Lotter, at 2:25.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Here's what's going to happen over the next 4 weeks or so. We're going to start hearing from a lot more candidates and office holders as we get closer to the election day, and also people deeply involved in the process. If nothing else, you're listening to this program and this radio station, you are going to know who and what you are voting for or voting against. Tomorrow, 7:35, Jane Duker going to be with us. I know people are like, a Democrat?
Wait a minute.
On Mike Ferguson in the morning? Yeah, because when it comes to her knowledge of the county government, she got it. And she is very well invested, and so we're going to get her take and the update on what's happening. Once again, 7:35 right here on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It is 8:50
right now. Got Ken Williams in the studio. My name's Mike Ferguson. Vic Porcelli is going to be here in about 15 minutes. I'm already counting down to spring training. When do pitchers and catchers report? That's what I want to know.
I think it's March, late March.
Something like that.
Somewhere around there.
And I'm going to watch the playoffs. Padres beat the Mets, and so, they're moving on. They're going to play the Dodgers. The Phillies, who beat the Cardinals, are going to move on and play the Braves in the National League. I just could not believe what I was seeing. The Phillies were the best possible matchup for the Cardinals. But the biggest thing is I woke up on Sunday, and because I am such a baseball nerd and a weird person, one of the first things in my mind was Albert and Yachty are no longer Cardinals.
Yeah, no.
We now have a St. Louis Cardinals organization without Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. I mean, I'm sure they'll be involved in front office stuff and things like that. But when it comes to their playing days, 2 Hall of Fame careers are over, and they went out with with a pathetic whimper. I mean, it wasn't like it was the Cardinals just weren't there.
I was really surprised with Arenado and
Goldschmidt. Yeah. I mean, they just that falling apart in the 9th inning on Friday still pains me. I mean, because the Cardinals had a big lead, just needed 3 more outs, and then all of a sudden 1 run scores, 2 run score, 3, 4. I mean, hit batter, walk. I mean, it was just one after the other, and everything just deflated. And then they came out flat on Saturday in 2 games. Don't get me wrong. There are players on the Phillies that I really like. I really hope JT Realmuto gets a ring. I mean, I think he's a very underrated catcher, even though a lot of people regard him as one of the better catchers in the league. I think this guy is really, really good. I could take or leave Bryce Harper. I think he's kind of a child. But, JT Realmuto was one of my favorite catchers to watch. So congratulations to them. They just played good baseball, and they didn't give up.
Well, see how superstition works in baseball and all that. And I've been a longtime baseball player. Mm-hmm. And I was being serious when I said this earlier. It was my fault because I hadn't watched one game the whole season. And then I tuned in because it was on Channel 30.
Yep.
For the first time, and I don't even know how long.
Ken?
And Mike, I tuned in literally in the 9th inning when we were in the lead, and then suddenly, boom, we lost it. Vic?
We pulled him out back, and we beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, I think it's all your fault, Ken.
Yeah. I know.
Fault.
And it's not superstition, it's tradition.
Oh, that's right.
I was so revved up about these playoffs, man.
Oh.
And then and that's it. The big Yachty and Pujols and Wainwright send off. That's it.
Right. It's like and after they lost the second game, I'm thinking, well, yeah, there's something more, right? I mean,
right, me too. Yeah.
Oh no.
It's like it's not. It's over.
Yep.
It's over.
Now I have post-Cardinal season depression syndrome.
Yeah, your Cardinals had.
Well, it's hands up, don't shoot.
Well, yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
What, for spring training?
Pitchers and catchers reports.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm telling you, they haven't even said yet.
I'll just start wearing my Blues
of course,
gear.
I always want the Cardinals to win.
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean. And you know what's going to happen? Yankees now will absolutely be in the World Series because the Cardinals will not.
Of course.
I mean, I'm waiting 30 years for a Cardinal-Yankee World Series, and one of the teams always screws up, and this year it was us.
Can I point out that I saw this morning that the Yankees anticipate putting Matt Carpenter back on the roster for the next round of the playoffs? So at least there's a Cardinal connection there. I don't think Harrison Bader is going to be on there.
Bader, right?
But Matt Carpenter is going to be on that roster. It looks like.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I'm a baseball guy. I'm gonna be watching. There's still a lot of players and teams that I like, and I'll root for some, root for the others. Hey, watch this, Ken. You're a big Mets fan, right?
God, I hate the Mets. And they're still in, right?
Yeah.
So it could be a Subway Series again.
No. The Padres beat them.
Oh, so the
Padres
Mets are
beat
out.
them. So the Mets are out.
Okay,
yeah.
so no Subway
so
Series.
So it's going to be Padres against the Dodgers and then Phillies against the Braves.
So it'll be Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series.
Most likely, yes. That's exactly it.
I'm done. After they lose, I'm like, eh.
See, here's the weird thing.
Just because it's baseball.
Yes, I'm with you.
I'll peek.
I thought that the Phillies were the best possible matchup for the Cardinals. Cardinals just blew it. And then I actually think the Cardinals versus the Braves is a better matchup than the Phillies versus the Braves. I mean, the Braves are second best team in the National League, but I think that the Cardinals would have a much better chance against them than the Phillies.
It's funny, too, how these teams because you remember the 2006 Cardinals backed into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then won the World Series. You know what I mean? And now the Phillies are kind of like in that same situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just barely got into the playoffs, and they beat the best team in the National League Central.
Okay, so what about this? Because they're now the big underdog in the National League, do we adopt them for the rest of the playoffs?
No, I can't do that. I got rid for the Yankees. I mean,
okay.
I just think that it depends on each team every year. It depends on when they peak and when they slump.
Mm-hmm.
And just so happens the Cardinals had a slump.
a little too early,
So
right?
they peaked a little early, and then they slumped at the exact wrong time.
So you're saying the wild card round of the playoffs is the wrong time to go cold?
I would say that'd be the time to not go cold.
That one inning really was a deflator. I mean, they did play good. You know, there was good pitching up till that point.
It was excellent pitching until the ninth inning. I mean, and then when the runs are piling up, even the commentators, Alex Rodriguez, I was watching on ESPN, and the commentators were like, why isn't anybody up and warming up in the Cardinals bullpen? There's another run hit by, why isn't anybody up and running? So Ollie got them to the playoffs, won the division. So I'm not going to be the Monday morning quarterback, because he did a good job getting them there. Managing in the playoffs is a whole different thing than managing in the regular season, and he probably learned some hard lessons that managers have to learn.
I hate Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to sit there on your fat ass on your couch and I would have done it that way. Well, guess what? You're sitting on your fat ass on the couch. You're not doing it, so shut up.
Well, what about?
Think it's easy?
Was there some issue with Quintana being sent out too early in that game? Was it Quintana?
Too
It was
many
pitching.
pitches, pitch count.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's
But
what
that's the playoffs, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my point. Is that they shouldn't have removed him just because of number.
Well, you remember that burned the Rays really bad, a year or two ago? And because they had a pitch count and the Rays pitcher was just mowing down the Dodgers. I mean, they couldn't touch him.
And the thing about managing, too, is, right, you do something crazy and it doesn't work, you're an idiot, right? You do something crazy and it works, oh my God, you're a genius.
What a genius.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, what's going to happen?
Hey, Ollie got them to the championship. They won the Central Division. All right. I don't know if you got baseball or not coming up, but you got 5 seconds to tell us what it is.
All I can say is at least I saved $100 and they're up at the $100 on the Cardinals. That's all I got to say.
Vic Porcelli at 9:04, friends.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket